there in the pinnacle. Porsche already on track, our championship leader, winner from round 1, and you can see qualifying has just begun. 11-minute qualifying right now. We've already lost a minute. Most of them are just starting their first flying laps now, and it will be Breno Ellis to do his first time if he keeps it valid. Should get a nice banker underway, and I can see Sean Bubb now just behind him in the McLaren. 11 minutes, a very short lap here, just over 90 seconds. We're probably looking at low 32s for some of the top runners, and probably high 32s for the silvers and pro-ams, low 33s. Very, very tricky. Obviously a lot of pressure loss, but this is qualifying right now, so you generally don't have to worry about it. Probably see maybe some drivers come in for a fresh set of tires if they get things properly wrong. You might see the ones who can keep it clean to do the whole qualifying on the same stint, as it really doesn't matter about tire life here. It matters just more so about executing the lap. It's the probably hardest lap on the grid to string together.
132.5. Burton behind him with the 132.6. Ooh. I'd be quite thankful if I could get those times, Kevin.
Indeed, be red hot. Very good banker. Yes, Breno Ellis with 52. Nope, 32.5. We're closely followed by Logan Burton in the McLaren, just 2/10 off. Webb there, a very nice lap as well in the high 33s. And see Breno now coming round to the chicane. The hairpin, and be followed by the infamous chicane that everyone low. Just about cut it. Obviously the Porsche won't be able to cut the curbs as much as some of the front engine beasts here. We do seem to see a bit of favoritism from some of the front engine cars, but the Porsche, I think, is one of the few that can just about live with it in terms of single lap pace. Coming now through Nickelbrook and coming up to Clay Hill. Many names on this track for the corners. There'll be just this little kink here, just called Water Tower. Not really much of a Corner 2 name, but Druid's Corner, the double apex, and then with a small crest as well, just to give the TC a little bit something to think about. And finally, the last corner where you can throw it all away. A very excellent lap, but looks like Breno has kept it very clean, kept it within track limits. You can go quite wide there past the line. And what's he going to do is going to be a 32.5 again, so not much improvement, a small improvement, but I'm sure he'll find much more. Already a 10th at this first corner.
It's an easy corner to get wrong, that one. I've had so many issues with it, but yeah, I've heard a few people that just cannot get it right, actually.
Indeed, no. So good going. We've been displaced at the top by Babby in the AMG for the silver class. We've got 32.2 all done. I have to say that's a very impressive lap from Glory Babby. Did see him in practice as well, doing around the same times. And the AMG is quite good here. Not the most popular car these days, but still capable of a very good lap time in the right hands. To see the McLaren here of Logan Burton. We're actually quite, I think I'm going to stick this car for Sean Bubb now. I do apologise, but sort of black and blue McLaren, looking very good, but quite similar to the colours of Mr. Bubb now. Of course, he's not in this split. He's in our split for this time tomorrow, and split blue and red. We'll do it all again. Logan Burton, a very quick driver as well, a very quick silver with arguably pro pace. Coming now around final corner, 3/10 up right now. Should put him to a 32.4 if the delta is friendly to him, just about a 32.5. So a good lap there from Logan in the McLaren.
Lost a 10th coming through Nickelbrook, but if he held the time, he probably would have just about made pole, I reckon.
Yep. I think everyone right now is very capable of doing a good time, but it's really matters about doing it right here, right now. Practice, it means a lot, but it doesn't mean anything in terms of results. it can only prepare you for executing it right here in the session. Already a little bit of time lost for Logan, and even more time lost going through the chicane of Britons. You see Luke Johnson there in the familiar Castrol colours, and McLaren coming up behind him. They've got a good set of McLarens along with Webb filling out 3 to 5 right now. Let's go to Ben Piper in an AMG. Long departure from his usual Audi and Bentley, but in good car for this track, I have to say. Very capable of hitting the curbs. We see him take a little bit of the entry, quite a lot of the actual middle part, which is where it tends to spit cars out the most. A good run overall, and you see he's been rewarded with 2 tenths and up to half a second up on his previous. Touching on a 32 if he's able to keep it together. Another 10 found, so a lot of entry curb, but he's gotten away with it. Lost about a 10th in that mid sector, but just got to get it clean. It's 4 minutes left to go, and you just got to get that time on the board.
He's sticking steady with half a second up. Yeah, that should put him about 5th or 6th if he can hold it.
It should slot in very close to Babby, or touching maybe 6 tenths, and ooh, yes, 1/100th behind Michael Babb in the Porsche. Very good lap. The fair old smattering of fast silvers here. Luke Johnson there getting shuffled down a little bit with Babb and Piper's times. Speaking of Babb, we can go to his now in the Porsche. Found 2 tenths this lap coming into the final corner, Lodge corner. Not technically the last corner, because this little left-hander here onto the start straight is the final corner, Deer Leap. But 3 tenths right now should be serving him very well for Babby. Big gains, but unfortunately he didn't gain any positions, and he's going to slot in just over a 10th behind Burton. But should have potentially maybe 3 shots at the cherry for this last part of qualifying right now. Getting a lot of laps in. Oh no. And clearly knows that that lap isn't going to be improved and might not have the fuel to do anymore. So return to garage and just get out for a few more runs.
What an interesting time for me to have a coughing fit.
No worries. See Ben Piper here, found up to 3 tenths, and lose a little bit, but still 2.5 gained. And gets him up to P6 right now in the AMG. Looking very solid for Ben Piper. Ooh, quite a lot of entry curb, and yes, invalidated on the exit. Should get around for 1 more if he has the fuel. But yes. There's some, you can be a little bit chivalrous with some of the track limits here, but turn 1 is definitely not one of them. It is strict as can be. Cafiel Slade now, speaking of which, perfect example there of, yeah, as soon as you're past the 4 white lines, it is well and truly gone, but should get around for another lap. Gonna have a top time. He's doing well, to be honest, to be 9th in the Audi. I know Cafiel is quick, but the Audi is really not suited to this track. Currently pole position being held there by Glory Babby in the AMG. We've seen how quick he can be. Doing the work right now, getting out of the way for Logan Burton in the McLaren, and should have her time to cross the line and have 1 more shot. He's only just ahead of Breno Ellis. So it is going to be, I think, a fight between those two. D Webb is already parked up along with Babb, Piper and Fakori, so they won't be going out again. We'll see what Glory Babby can produce on this last one. He files out into the first corner, keeps it just within the lines and about even on his previous best. Now into Cascades, the long left-hander. You have to be quite patient on the throttle, but you can use quite a lot of the exit, and he's going about even on his delta right now. So he'll know from his previous laps if he's got anywhere that he's got time on the table. Comes now down into Shell Oil's corner. Gets a good exit. And see how he tackles Britain's. How much does he cut the first part as much as he can in the car? And good entry, exit, and mid part. And it's done well. And the AMG can really abuse the lack of floor, as we all like to joke with the AMG. Coming now into Hislop. He is matching his previous. And I was going to say, yeah, a little bit wide. Wasn't able to get on power early enough through Knickerbook. And coming up now to Druid's corner. He's lost a bit of time, a 10th and a half. Gains a fair bit back, but not so much on the exit. Oh, and very bouncy on the exit. It's invalidated. He's lost time. It's going to be enough. But we'll see what if Breno Ellis hasn't been able to improve and comes into a practice pit stop. Yep. So it's going to be Glory Babby on pole position, unless Cafiel Slade has found a second, which doesn't look like to be the case right now, but he is still improving. He's up on his delta. Congrats to Babby on their pole position. Cafiel now, lots of time gains, a little bit squirrely on the mid part of the corner, but this should be good. It should only get him ahead of Fakori though, and does get P8 and slots in behind Piper. Very close field, I have to say.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see those times coming out, but yeah, proof's in the pudding, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. Only 12 1,000ths between Babby and Ellis at the end of the day. Is a very, very impressive. We've got 3 minutes and 12 formation lap, in which we'll cover the format for this race. So obviously it'll be a 60-minute race, and it'll have take care on those initial out laps where the tires are still cold, so the preparation on the formation is going to be very, very important.
How do we feel about Babs' livery there? I know some people will love it, some people might hate it. I'm here for it. I really, really am.
Yes, that is I heard that's Babby's skin, personal skin as well. Actually, that's what he likes to share things. But yeah, that's Babby in a nutshell. With to Michael Babb, to say the least. So we've got two Babbies in this one, this race. But that's some glorious liveries here. Nice Porsche Red Bull on the left, an Alpine GTR. It's a GTR, so therefore it's great. The bloody Godfrey Honda always makes a return to whenever I'm commentating for some reason.
What have we got here? That's yeah, right.
Yeah, I feel like I can't escape that. It always seems to be when I'm on comms that seems to show up. Loves the Honda. The smiling sticker bomb Lambo as well is definitely a livery. Missed a few spots.
Nearly a thing of nightmares, really, isn't it?
Indeed. There's some lovely liveries as well. And to end off with a DJR Mustang, and I believe that is Kranich. So just about to start on our formation. Any predictions here, David?
Oh, I'm not going to jinx the start. Yeah, I'd like to see the usuals at the top, but
Go on.
Yeah.
Call. Who's going to win? Who's your punt?
No, you're not going to put that evil on me, Ricky.
Go on.
No.
Go on.
Let's face it.
Who's going to get a drive-through?
whoever gets T1 right, I reckon, yeah, they're in with a shot.
That's the problem. You have to get T1 right for the rest of the race as well. It's not just the first lap. But yeah, you got a good point. It is quite hard to get past here.
One.
Absolutely.
And just having a good look at a helicopter and things like that. Oh, here we go. I would have liked to have seen Admiral Name here, because I saw him in the practice service and he was definitely hauling. But yeah, I'll call it now. I'd like to see Alice do his usual thing and come out on top. But Babby might have it having the pole.
Indeed. It is going to be very interesting to see. I'm not sure if we saw Glory Babby last week at Silverstone, but obviously Silverstone was taken out from won by Breno Ellis, followed by the aforementioned Naeem, and I believe I forget actually who was third. I do apologise. Logan Burton in the McLaren. So it'll be interesting to see how things go. Seeing, not to spell any doubt onto Glory Babby, but he's had quite a few races where he's been quick, but the races just haven't gone his way. A bit of a change of machinery from Porsche to Mercedes. And while the Porsche is very quick off the line, there is a very, very short run to turn one. It's not really going to make much of an advantage, and plus being on the outside means he's probably more got to worry about Webb in the yellow and red McLaren. Two more McLarens of Burton and Johnson to follow behind him as well, so all to play for. We're around now through the final corner and up to the start-finish line, 2x2x2. Couple of gaps, but everyone's managed to sort things out, and we're gonna go green ever so shortly now. There's a good run, even jump between the first two, and Webb is gonna cement that P3 and just about avoids the rear quarter of Barry. Oh, we've got Cafiel Slade there off on the grass in the Audi, and Logan Burton's going to slot past the McLaren of Webb with a small touch as well. And the Mercedes of Piper has definitely had all sorts of troubles out there, as Michael Babb is now up the inside of Webb as well, trying to capitalize on his bad start and gets it into the island bend. And I think he's got the move done there for Michael Babb, and also Luke Johnson trying to put the aforementioned Webb under a lot of pressure. Very bad start for him. But as currently as formed at the front is Babby ahead of Ellis. Oh, very wild on the exit there for Michael Babby. Does a very good job to keep it all together, but unfortunately he's lost a position to Webb and Johnson, and now even potentially to Murphy as well. And oh my goodness, oh dear. So it was a cracking job to get ahead of Webb, but unfortunately it's lost a couple of positions. Oh, but that's very wide from Murphy, so it's going to be a Porsche side-by-side ding-dong into the scary part of the track. And coming up now to Druid's Corner, who backs out, who says, I shall not. And yes, Babby has the inside line and takes that one back from Murphy, capitalizing his mistake.
I was actually wondering who was going to back out first.
Oh dear, that Ferrari and Facori. Oh, sorry to interrupt, David, but it looked like the Facori McLaren was trying to close in on the Ferrari. They had a nose up the inside and nearly disaster. It came on two. And looks like Piper is in there as well, trying to get some positions back. Oh dear, and he's been fed a whole chunk of grass. He's got to spin round, unfortunately collect a McLaren as well. I believe that is Jay Parker, and that's really unfortunate as well. Please everyone see the blue flags. Oh, there's going to be some late ducks out. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's not nice to see. I think we'll avoid a safety car and see Cafiel Slade there recovering his position, but Ben Piper and Jay Parker unfortunately going to fall to the back of the grid, but looks like they're still going to keep going.
Well, that McLaren looks pretty average at the start, really, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There is no pit window right now, so I'm sure these two will probably get their first mandatories out the way, repairing their damage. And it's not going to be too much of a detriment on strategy, but it's unfortunately going to lose them a lot of time, potentially probably even put them a lap down once they repaired all the damage. A very short lap here. But they are still going. It is still 57 minutes left to go, and Glory Babby with the fastest lap, still 6/10 ahead of Breno Ellis and 8/10 behind him, Logan Byrne in the McLaren.
Yeah, 3 minutes in. A little while to go. Yeah, anything can happen, really, can't it?
Definitely indeed. It's like fair all conditions as Michael Babb going for a very early stop. Hopes he gets it anchored and stopped for the 50-kilometer sign. Looks like he's done so just as well. Lines up to his box. Hopefully gets it nice and stopped up to the board. And I'm sure won't be the only one boxing early. That might be strategic from Michael Babb. Whether he maybe got pressures wrong, but I think that's more so him deciding to split the strategy in half in the middle of the race. Get one of the 3 stops out the way. Get into clear traffic. See James Parker trying to recover here and maybe go and take tyres at the halfway mark. I think most people, if you're good enough and you haven't lost enough pressure, you can maybe take the tyres the whole way. But I think a split 30-30 for tyres is going to be the strategy for this race format. As James Parker does a very good job to get this wounded McLaren back into the box. I don't think Benjamin Piper did box. You see Luke Johnson now still on the coattails of Daniel Webb. Had a bit of a wild start. Tried to make positions, ended up losing a few positions, but has managed to find his rhythm a little bit. Only a second and a half behind the McLaren of Burton. So it hasn't actually really changed, hasn't changed at all, to be honest. I think, actually, I do apologise, Webb did qualify ahead of Burton, and that's the only change at the front. That's what it looks like on paper, but we obviously saw Michael Babb make quite a few positions, but then unfortunately did lose them. He's now going to be on the contra strategy, but they're not losing touch with the leaders ahead. See Wesley Yao in the 992 Porsche has come into the box as well. Edward Fakori here still got Brian Kong all over him. And I think these two were very tit for tat the whole first lap. And it looks like a bad run there from the McLaren. And I think Kong's going to have a run up the inside. And surely it's day done for Island Bend. Oh my goodness, as he backs out and Edward Fakori keeps it planted around the outside. That's immense driving from both of them to keep going in a pretty clean fashion with no contact at all. It's a scary corner Island Bend when you're just doing it by yourself. And that's an excellent job from both of them with Godfrey just tucked in behind in the Honda.
Yeah, I see a few people have come around Island Bend and made, how would you say, intimate friends with the wall.
They put the bend in the bend, that's for sure. I've been there.
Yeah, I managed to do it the other night too, and no thanks, I don't want to do it anymore actually.
I mean, if you don't crash there, you're not really pushing hard enough. Ooh, very wide there from the Honda. That's really going to result in a lot of pressure loss. I think I did see that Bowden 224 did, unfortunately, speaking of crashes at Island Bend, was yellow flagged on the exit. So I think that's that's Mark 1 for casualties at Island Bend. Very easy to do. I'm not going to say it's an endurance race here, but it's a very busy track with not a lot of places to find your mind a little bit and relax. You kind of always have to be on it as Brian Kong comes into the box to serve his first stop.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where you sort of only get to take a short breath and then you're back into it again.
Yep. Not a lot of many straights here, to be honest, and not very long. Following now with Hayden Marsh. I trust no relation to you, David, but going strongly there in now P14 in the Pro-Am category.
I actually don't know. I should really hit him up and say, are we cousins, or do we just ignore the fact that we've got the same last name, or yeah?
Indeed. Yep, definitely. It's normally, it's worrying that you have to think about it, I will say.
Oh yeah, but anybody that knows my family knows that there's a lot of us. Let's face it, he's doing a good thing for my name. He's up in the top 15, so you keep going there, Marsh.
Yeah, he's a surrogate. He's a honorary family member.
Oh yeah. When he's in the top 15 for sure.
Yeah, as soon as he drops out,
Oh, I'm not going to comment on that because I'll probably get a nasty message in my DMs.
Oh, come on. Curses are all part of the fun of commentary. Why else do you think we do this?
Yeah, no, the banter and... Yeah, okay. I'm only here to curse everybody.
It's all well and fun until you're on the receiving end.
Yeah, let's face it, I normally am.
Well, I mean, you know, we don't pick on anyone specific. It's very slow and really got caught up by Smiles in the Lamborghini. I don't know if it was a little bit of a brain fade and kind of just was a little bit timid into the corner. He lost a fair bit of time to the Merc, and the obviously saw the Lambo round up, and oh my goodness, a bit of four-wheel drive on the exit as well. Hopefully the Ferrari is quite compliant.
Yeah, just looking down the list, I see Slade's made it up to 19th, so he's doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah, it looks like he had a bit of a, I don't know if he had a helping hand at turn 1 on lap 1, but he found himself on the grass and on the exit, and yeah, sure, maybe I had a moment, or you know, the Audi reared its hind legs, but unfortunately had to come into the box. And it's still, actually no, sorry, apologise, he hasn't done any boxing, but he's on the recovery drive as Cafiel. You see these two, these three I should say, really kind of staying close to each other, but a bit of a gain from Burton and a bit of a loss from Ellis to Babby. I'm not sure if that's Logan kind of turning up the wick a little bit, or Babby's kind of falling into the clutches. But be interesting to see, and see Webb and Johnson still there in the background, being dropped a little bit by these top three, but very much staying within range to capitalize. So I think the Mercedes of Benjamin Piper is just ahead of the slot, so he'll be hoping he can put in enough pace to not get lapped, but I don't think he's going to be able to with the speed of these three.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to stretch your legs at the start, really, aren't they? Yep, there's Slady in the pits now.
Yep. And obviously, Benjamin Piper has also served one of his first mandatories. We saw the unfortunate incident. I'm sure there may have been some numbers called. I can't remember at the time, but I think he was battling with someone else through turn 1 and then got escorted onto the grass, and unfortunately kind of slid back onto the racing line, and some people were unable to avoid him. Not sure. I'm sure he was probably on the brake, so if not, he'll be under scrutiny for it. Speaking of penalties, we've got a 5-second penalty for Kong in the 6th Ferrari, who has served one of those stops. 5 plus 5 equals 10, so now a 10-second penalty. That's the only way the admins can apply penalties, so it's not 2 penalties, it is the 1. They can only do it in 5-second increments for the 10 seconds. But that's gonna add 10 seconds to his next stop. It's surely gonna not be an advantage. And, just to state the obvious a little bit.
You hear everybody going on about whether they'll take the 5 extra seconds for tyres, as 26 gets a 5-second as well, Piper.
Oh yes, it might be for an unsafe rejoin, whether or not he was actually holding his brakes as he re-entered the corner, re-entered the track at turn 1 for the aforementioned incident. I trust it's for that incident. I'm sure stewards may or may not chime in on in the chat. But yes, we have a question from chat from Annie and see what the fastest laps is, if that's something we'll be able to find out. I believe it's probably Glory Babby right now. We'll see next time we cut to him in the bottom right. Oh, there's a lot of entry curb there, and the floor has its limits on the Mercedes, and you see, yes, a best lap of a 32.692 for our current leader. Definitely we're in a second now, so Piper needs to, yes, he's done the smart thing, gone out the way of the best possible, one of the best places on the track. It's the most relatively straight part of the track, and let all three through with no too much bother. It's a good blue flag awareness there from Piper.
They're doing some good pace, but they've only sort of stretched out 3 seconds to Webb. Yeah. I thought they might have skated away a little bit more, to be fair.
You did see it was fairly close in qualifying, and I think obviously these guys are pushing, but it depends on how much they want to. You can find a bit more time if you take a few more liberties with certain curves, but you might suffer a few more pressure losses, and I think that's it's kind of bearing on everyone's mind a little bit. But Glory Babby is kind of in the best seat for it because there really isn't many passing opportunities here. It takes a mistake really to let the car behind get a run on you, because as I said, there's really not many not many straights to gain in the slipstream. A lot of short braking zones, very short slow speed corners where there is only really one line. See, Babby is kind of slowly kind of been fallen back into the clutches of Ellis. Is now down to 3 tenths and lost a couple of tenths this lap alone. So maybe the Mercedes is feeling maybe the freshness of its tires go a little bit, whether or not he's got a few pressure losses. So unfortunately, we're not privy to the information of what pressures people have. So it would be quite a thing to know as your competitor.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It'd be quite nice to be privy to that information, really, wouldn't it? Definitely make comms interesting.
Indeed. If we can see it, it means all the team, everyone else can see it, and I think that's one of the things at ACC. It's a competition, so they try not to. It's the same way you can't see people's fuel levels and all sorts. Try to make sure it's everyone doesn't have all the info, because the good teams can make use of it if they know that you're in a bit of a struggle. Or quite the ride there from Babby has compromised his entry a little bit to the hairpin, but it really doesn't matter because Brandon Wells can't really find a way around the big bad Mercedes. They're all going well here, and do love both of these guys' liveries. You see Ellis there in the Porsche can't take that first part of the Britain's curb, and pretty much can't take the second part. I think everything can really take the third part. But with the agility of the Porsche and quickness through the corners, the way it can change direction, it kind of can make up for it a little bit. But there's still the front engine cars where if they can hammer over the curves, they do kind of gain quite a lot.
Yeah, I have noticed that with the Mustang. I got told, no, you can eat that curb a bit more.
Absolutely. We'll see Fakori and Godfrey here going side by side into the second chicane of Hislop and Knickerbrook. And still side by side on exit, and I think Godfrey's going to edge ahead and have this position done, whether that was for defending or attacking. And the last time we saw them, Fakori was ahead, so I think that might be Godfrey with the move. Doing well there in the Honda, coming now down into... Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Glenn. We really appreciate everything you do. See the GTR Goris comes into the box along with Dylan McDowell as well. We saw Dylan do very well, I think, at the last round and really kind of step up to the plate a little bit, but didn't actually take note of where he qualified this round. I think he kind of qualified in the mid-pack, so maybe not really gelling with the track. I think it's understandable. It's it's a very different flavor from Silverstone.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller, really, isn't it?
Indeed, very much the case, and it's can be very tricky. As I said, I think it's one of the hardest tracks to put the lap together. Putting the perfect lap together is not really an easy thing in general, but here it's just so tricky. But it's nice to see all the cars kind of make their speed in different ways. You have to say, like, you can take a fair bit of curb with the front engine machines, but that might be a detriment when it comes to your pressure losses, and then you definitely don't drive the car like you do in qualifying for the actual race, because otherwise you'd have no pressure by the end.
I was just about to say, you're not supposed to do that. That's what I try and do all the time.
Oh, I hate to say it, but I think Fakori just went very wide, but it looks like he's still going, so well, that's okay from him, as Breno Ellis still. It's going to be very interesting how well these three execute their pit stops, because I think it's so close, that's going to be the deciding factor. And as I said, they're really not, they're not getting too far away from Webb, and I think that just shows the speed of Webb and Johnson as well. Like, these three are really quick. You see, Breno Ellis is able to really close in on Babby, through the hairpin, but ultimately nowhere to go. So a few people have very different lines into that corner.
What would your call be, mate? Would you, if you were Babby right now, would you try and go for a pit early, or would you go there a little bit longer and see what the other two have got?
It's very hard to say. We are coming up to the even split of the two stops, nearly at the 20 minutes in mark. I like to generally overcut. I'd like to tend to go long, just so especially when I'm taking tires, I like to have the tire run for the end, and tend to take the starting set further into the race. But it is very tricky, and it's with this track, it's because of the pressure loss, it really can, whatever you had planned can just go out the window straight away with 1 or 2 bad laps, and you just unfortunately will have to react to your tires at the time. If you've taken too much out of them, if the pressure loss is getting too much, pressure loss is definitely something that will cost you lap time. But I think it's also can be a little bit, how much it affects you mentally. Just because that tire's lost pressure, it can throw you off more so than I think what the tire is doing. I think if you lose your kind of concentration, that's going to be a bigger factor. But as to very long answer your question, I would try to box at the halfway mark, take a set of tires. If they're pretty much if I manage to have only lost like 0.1 psi, I might try to. I'd potentially try to actually one-stop it on. Sorry, not take tires at all. Just because it's only 5 seconds extra to take tires, but 5 seconds is a long time, especially when you're like these guys and only about under a second apart.
Yeah, well, I tried it in the Mustang to see how long I could go, and yeah, it turns out that I'm quite good at just chewing out the tyres on the Mustang. So, personally, I'm not sure what I'd do, because I've seen in the chat that at this rate, it's probably going to be 1 or loss between these 3 in the pits.
Indeed, yeah, it's one, if they don't box up the same lap, as if Babby points, what did the other 2 do? Did they follow? Did they react? Did they keep going? We see we're coming up to a fair bit of traffic right now, and I think if these guys box, they will actually still be in traffic. But a lot of people are actually getting their first stops out the way already. I think that's indicative of the current strategy requirements of this race, but also the pressure losses as well. Generally, the first stop is usually, it's not just the tires. It's usually, maybe you have damage, maybe you got the pressures wrong from the start, and you generally find things a little bit more settled in after the first stop. We'll see Johnson and Miller, and shout out to Miller as well, actually, in the 62 BMW. The AM all the way up was in P6, obviously going to drop down a fair bit now. Might need a bit of a promotion if you're an AM up in the top 10. And there's going to be a Ferrari right in the way, kind of just gets out of the way. I don't know if that's cost Glory Babby any real time, but he hasn't really lost any space to the Porsche of Breno Ellis. So thankfully had a nice bit of a gap, and hopefully jumps out of the way for P3 Logan Burton as well. I think these guys are just going to keep going as far as their fuel tanks will allow. I think I just saw Webb has also boxed in the background. But yeah, I think these 3 are going to go as long as they can, see whoever blinks first, because as I said, like, a lot of people are boxing, but if one of these guys boxes and gets stuck in traffic, that's it, it's done. You're only going to lose time. And even if they are blue flagged, and seeing now the BMW is blue flagged at the 62 car. Ben Miller, I just gave him a lot of praise, but he's unfortunately kind of come out in a bad place to let these cars go, as he needs to let Babby go as well. He just about does so. I'm not sure what more else he could have done, but he's managed to let the two in front go, and then quite a bit of time lost there for Logan Burton. I think, not sure that was really on the BMW. I think it was just getting past the Ferrari initially as well, and he has to send it up the inside of the BMW as well. Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, I was just looking back when he was coming around, what would you call it, the avenue, and it was starting to drop back by a second, so he's lost a second so far just for blue flags, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he's had a bit of a bad run with the blue flags, and it's really cost him. As I said, just under 2 seconds have now gapped out to Ellis. He won't be lacking any slipstream because it's not really a factor at this track, but I'm sure he would have done without losing so much time. Will this now make him think about a strategy change? I wonder where Webb has come out relative to other cars. The 111 looks like he's all by himself in a clear part of the track, so if these guys box now, it will be clear track for them currently. There'll be no other cars around them for them to clear for position. You see, yeah, we're over here now going through Druid's Corner, but as you can see on the track map, nothing around him at all. As I said, like most of these guys, most drivers have got their first stops out the way. Very few have not. And to be honest with you, it is really just the top three, and of course, Mr. Paul Kranich and Bowden as well, who have not done their first stops. We'll see Kranich do his usual thing of going to the very last minute before serving his mandatories.
I mean, he is in the Mustang, mate, so anything's possible at this rate or not.
He will probably actually interfere with a few fights or battles by doing that, because he won't be obliged to blue flag, and we know Kranich likes to go to the end and serve him right at the end. He is entitled to that 15-second penalty for car 4 causing a collision. That is Smiles in the Lamborghini, and we have Ellis is in now, so Glory Babby's still going around, and it's got 2 cars. Look at all the traffic he's got to clear now. This is actually very smart from Breno. He's you can see there's so much blue flag traffic up ahead. You know, they're obliged to get out of the way, but it doesn't mean they have to jump at the first mark. You know, it's only going to cost you time. And Ellis is in. I wouldn't be surprised to see Babby and potentially Burton box this lap as well. But yeah, Babby's going to lose time to these cars up ahead, and that might be enough for Breno Ellis.
Yeah, I'll just keep an eye on my map there, and if he comes out now, he's into clear air. Could be interesting.
Yep, he needs to absolutely nail that stop. No shuffling around. Get the brake right for the markers. Cafiel Slake does a very good job getting out the way. No time lost there at all. But yeah, Breno Ellis needs to nail that stop, not get moved around, not be too conservative. Oh, see Barry there with a slide, and Smiles does a good job of getting out the way by finding the wall. That's not too ideal, and I wouldn't recommend that strategy, but yes, Smiles frankly out of the way does not cost Babby any time as well. Maybe cost him a few heartbeats knowing where that car was going.
Just going to say, Ellis has come out in completely beautifully clean air.
Yep, that does add up, and Babby still goes around. Very interesting. I wonder if that's because there was a blue flag car coming into the pits ahead of him, or whether that was intended. He was kind of in the middle of the track, so I think he was umming and ahhing. If there is a slower car kind of boxing in front of you can't really attack the entry like you would do normally. Interesting, very interesting. So they're going to go to nearly the halfway mark. Maybe Glory's going for the 30-30 strategy on the tires. Be interesting to see. Well, we talk about the stops. That's implying that these guys even do the same stops on the first one. Has Breno taken tires? Has he done just fuel? Has he done 25 seconds? I wouldn't be surprised to see if he just does fuel just to get... Oh, he's going to serve his second mandatory straight away. This is interesting. This is interesting, but surely that's going to put him into traffic as well.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Unless he potentially messed up something in his last stop. Who knows?
Yeah, not much to mess up. Oh, very wide there from Babby as well. So that's definitely got a pressure loss if he hasn't had any so far. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, this is going to put Breno Ellis in traffic. So, but whether what if he's actually going to actually take tires as well? It's quite a long stop. I should have been timing this, I have to admit. Wasn't paying attention, but car has been dropped and he will keep on going. I should have really timed that stop, but he's going to shuffle out just alongside these two. But he's going to have to let him go. He's a lap down technically, and that's actually going to be quite unfortunate. That if he has got fresh tires and more speed under him, he still can't get past the AMG. So that is both stops served there for Breno Ellis, and it's not going to be great for him to still be stuck behind the same guys battling for net position.
But and that being said, he can go right to the end. He doesn't have to stop again. Where, yeah, still got 2 stops. And, yeah, I actually think he might have done a good thing there, actually.
It's true. Providing he doesn't have any moments that require him to stop again, and providing he's got his pressures right. That's the risk with doing both stops back to back. You know, if you spread them out a bit, you can kind of allow for some leeway if you have get your pressures wrong. But it'd be interesting to see what he's on. I think he must be on a fresh set. But that said, he would be bedding me in right now. But I think Glory has been suffering a little bit with a tyre wear. He hasn't looked as red hot as he was at the start of the race. And naturally, half an hour in, those tyres will feel it a little bit. We just lost a car, I think, with 778. And Glory Babby does box. So it's good for Breno Ellis because that clears him. And 111 has found a barrier. That's D Webb. That's Daniel. Oh no, I think he's found Island Bend at the barriers because I saw him yellowed at the hairpin just before it. And unfortunately, that's a return to garage for what was our net P4. That should promote either Johnson or Bab into that position. Currently now Bab, he is ahead of Johnson. But hopefully we might be able to find a replay. Very close between these two as well. So Dan Webb in the box. Glory Babby also boxing for their first stop. See what Logan Burton's still going around. He will take the net pole. Will take a P1 for now. Be interested to see how he responds to things as we just cross our halfway mark. Oh, very close between these two. See, Luke Johnson's really on it, and Michael Babb boxes for what will be his second mandatory. Oh, I think that might have been puckered a little bit, getting that just about stopped in time. I think he was okay, but it was very fiery on the way in as you kind of have to round the corner. It's a real shame for Webb because I think he was doing a good job. And also we'll see on the replay, but dropping down through the thing. When you return to garage, to explain to any newcomers, you will have controls locked, so you won't be able to rejoin for a long time. Oh. Oh no, that's potentially either he's been whisked away from someone or not seeing any throttle inputs, but he's come to a complete stop like you said, so it wasn't a crash. I do apologize, Webb. Normally that's a pretty normal spot, but just watch that throttle trace. See if anything. Oh, what happened there? Oh, connection. Oh, I think he had a crash. Well, I think, stating the obvious from the front end of that McLaren. I saw a bit of dust, and then he kind of just walked back in position. I think we might need to change the camera angle as well, because I'm not sure that one shows it. Sorry, Glenn. Oh no, it was a rejoining car. Oh no, it's a white Ferrari. I'm not too sure who that is of the AM class, but unfortunately that is completely ruined Daniel Webb's day. That is 778. That is for Hernanda, and unfortunately with a whopper of a rejoin is unfortunately the McLaren. And I'm sure that one will be under steward's review, to say the least. And unfortunately, he parks it up and returns to garage. So it might be, yeah, I'm not sure if he's rejoined, but yeah, that is very shocking.
It's a bit disappointing, really. Yeah, he was doing so well.
Absolutely. So just to touch bases right now, obviously Glory Bobby has come out of their stops, and yep, stop go 10 for that car. I believe we've been informed that they've left the service, so that should convert to a next race penalty. Johnson has obviously fallen now into P2, has yet to serve their second stop, so obviously Burton is boxed as well. Done both of their mandatories. So Babby, the last of the top three to do their stops. Burton is still behind Ellis. And there was a bit of a gap beforehand, and I think they've got a car that looks like, yeah, about a 6-second gap. Oh, Glory Babby with sideways through Island Bend. Keeps it saved. But that is so indicative, I'm sure, of the state of his tyres, and surely he can't be going any quicker than Breno Ellis right now. But Breno Ellis is within a second of another car for position, and it's not being blue flagged out the way. It is not obliged to move, so it'll be really interesting to see who comes out on top, because both of our leaders are not putting in the red hot laps now, surely.
I was just trying to search for him on the mini map there, but I think I need to go back to Specsavers.
Oh, well and good right now. So yeah, 47 and the current round Island Bend. Someone else is off as well, and hopefully they are not rejoining to get so close behind the GTR Goris, but Goris is not obliged to get out the way. He's still obliged. He's for position. You know, he's not obliged to move. He'd be very nice of him, but yeah, it's going to be unfortunate right now for Breno Ellis, and this was the risk of boxing, getting both your stops done really early, and I'm sure he's not going to get past the GTR down the straights. We know how much boost, despite how good the brakes are on the Porsche, and they're coming up now to behind Godfrey in the Honda. So it's also for the position, so if he clears the GTR, he's got another Japanese car for a position to deal with.
Ooh, I thought he might have made a dive just there.
Yeah, Brando needs to keep his head right now. It's frustrating. He's stuck behind position, but he can't afford an incident, and he can't afford an off or anything like that. He can't afford, to hit the car ahead. He needs to, unfortunately, wait until they box again. And he flashed. He's flashing the lights. He can't do that as well. I'm not sure actually what our rules are on flashing lights, but I noticed generally the race directors and stewards don't like it. And generally one flash to let you know if you got a blue flag ahead of you, but it's not blue flagged. And well, maybe rewarded for the flashing because Goris does get out the way. But yes, don't flash people if it's not actually for position, not actually a blue flag, and only flash once, people. It's not good etiquette, and can potentially get you a penalty.
Yeah, I was just about to say, so I found out, but I haven't found that out yet, but I have... how do I put this in a PC way? I have learnt that the stewards don't really find the fun side of that.
Oh, he's sending it down the hot... Oh, Breno, come on. He's trying... Yeah, this is not on right now. He's not sure how well. We'll maybe have a replay on that one, but he had a fire up the inside, and yeah, I think at the very least Breno is driving angry a little bit, like Tim in chat says. It's flashing other cars for position, sending it where it's a little bit marginal. Call me, I'm a commentator. But yeah, it's he's gonna be under a magnifying glass of the stewards for sure.
As Goris comes into the pits.
Oh, I think he's just going to send it up the inside now, and does get it done. So he does clear Godfrey, but surely that has lost him tons of time overall to Babby. Unless Babby is going sideways at every corner. He is, you know, in a few gaggle of cars is Glory Babby. You know, if you have someone, if you know, any of us are lucky of us to race with people who are, you know, spectating and stuff like that, you're having a few race engineers in Discord. As he sends it upside, it's quite late, and I feel like Godfrey left him the space. It's like you really kind of, yeah, I don't know, I'm not going to call that one. I feel like it was quite late, the space was given.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm kind of glad that I'm not in the steward's box, because they might be getting a smack stick out on that one.
Yeah. We'll see how Glory this one. This might be I mean, unless Glory's lost a ton of time, this might be a birthday potential. Might be all bells and whistles for Burton, because I think he might be on for a P2, and not actually sure. But you know, Burton on the back of Slade right now, so he's kind of a few seconds down the road from Breno Ellis. I apologise. So Glory Babby here. And Glory's keen to race his own race. I don't know if he. I think if he was lucky enough to have someone in his ear, you know, watching the race, you know, as soon as Breno was in traffic, I would have done like box now, just, you know, cement, make sure, get that stop out of the way now, cement that track position, because track position is king here. Can't get past you if you're in front, if you keep things clean here. But I think unfortunately the story for number one is only going to get worse from here.
Yeah, well, I've never raced on this one, so yeah, I've heard that pretty much track position's obviously where it's at, but passing doesn't seem to be too easy on this track, really, does it?
It is very, very difficult. I think, yeah, once you race here, you kind of realize that. I'm not saying that moves can't be done into turn 10 Hislop chicane, but it's, yeah, I think there's a million ways to go around the corner, to say the least, and I'm going to leave it to the stewards, because it's, yeah, I'm not going to say, like, you know, definitely not saying anyone can't go for a move, but I think that one was a bit of a day late and a dollar short.
Definitely ambitious, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. But we'll you know, don't like to harper on too much. I'm sure there'll be discussions post-race. Don't need to discuss them here, because all the waffling will go on in sprint room. But
no, it doesn't happen there, does it?
Nah, dead as anything. But Glory Barry's still going around. Still Luke Johnson 16 seconds behind as well. Murphy as well in the 64. We haven't really touched too much on Murphy. So one mandatory stop in the silvery white, all sorts. Fluoro, a bit of black as well, you know, take your pick in the Porsche. Nice livery there, kind of this classic, it's got OO on the side, I like that, very good. But yeah, doing well so far. I obviously saw him kind of, you know, capitalize on the first lap, and then uncapitalized by making a mistake as well, but it's still kind of been around here and there in the top 10, and should be on for a good position around P6, P7, I'd wager. He has got Breno Ellis coming up behind him in one of the other Porsches. And the Porsche's proving that they're still pretty good round here, despite the front engine domination. And yeah, to be honest, the McLarens as well. We've seen a lot of a good showing from Johnson, Burton, and unfortunately, Webb, until unfortunately he was no fault of his own. I'd say. I feel like that's fair to say. No need to keep that one out of the controversy papers.
Yeah, it seems like a night that there might be some a little bit of controversy.
Indeed, and it looks like Murphy boxes right away as well, and also Luke Johnson has come in to serve their last mandatory, so it'll be just Babby, Slade, and Marsh as well to serve their last stops. Babby now stuck behind still McDowell, does a good job, gets out the way in the, yeah, I was going to say, best part of the track is the nice straight bits, even though they're not too straight round here.
They're more like stress, really, aren't they?
Yeah, indeed. It's like a it's like a pack of twisties. They're all a little bit bendy. It's not my finest analogy, I will say.
Hey, it may not be your finest, but it did the job.
How fine are twisties, right?
Oh, mate, can't beat them. I'm
beat
sure that we'll hear in chat, oh, the twisties are not that good.
Speaking of controversy, that's bringing up snack debates. Oh, surely.
This early in the season, what are we doing?
Anyone says they enjoy CCs more than Doritos is actually dented.
I'm going to leave that one right there.
I've got Pringles right now, so I'm winning.
Oh, is that what the pop was earlier? I thought it might have been a bit of a beverage. Yeah, that pop. Yeah, I heard it.
Did that come through? Okay, good.
Yep, I heard it. The sneaky snack while you're doing comms. Well done. Love it. Lucas says Breno accents again.
Lucas Keys with his not controversial commentary as usual. But anyway, thank you to everyone who's in chat. Thank you to Simrigs as well, helping us put on this series. Obviously, round 2, the race before the big one at the real life Bathurst. Obviously, the 12-hour is coming up very shortly. We've got a lot of people already on the way there, the lucky devils. And definitely show us some pictures in Discord if you're up there from Mount Panorama. Been fortunate enough to go a couple of times there, and it's utterly fabulous.
Oh, you lucky boy. That's my downfall of being the other side of the ditch. Yeah, I've never made the trip to Bathurst, but looking at getting it done next year.
So one upside of living in Sydney.
Oh, yes, that's just down the road for you.
Yeah. Well, more than likely drive past Eastern Creek. It's definitely the better track in New South Wales as Bathurst.
Is this a perfect time to mention that we've got our 12-hour coming up?
Nice segue. Yes, it is.
Beautiful segue, really, wasn't it?
The boosted media 12 hours of Bathurst is coming up so shortly. Get your sign-ups in. I think we're still open for sign-ups. It's definitely not, we're not full to the brim. There's definitely places here and there. If you want to come join, come race at the mountain. Getting so close now, and gonna be nearly time for qualifying as well. And thankfully we've got Sean Muller organising all our comms as well. So if that's your bacon, like, you just come for Sean Muller comms, if anything.
Oh mate, I got to do my first comm stint with Sean. Oh, it's a thing of beauty with being in the comm box with Sean, really, isn't it?
Exactly. It's like, sharing a beer with God.
Oh, he's put him on God tier.
Oh, yeah. We're going to butter him up tonight, surely.
Yeah, I butter him up all the time. He's a good fella, our Sean.
Definitely, indeed. And obviously be repping his Porsche. Yeah, there we go. Benefit from Neil Alexander as well. Thank you to everyone who's been helping out on that. Obviously, Neil's going through a pretty rough spot right now, and we appreciate everyone who has contributed. And we're going to have a good old time in his name, and hopefully we might hear a few words from the big man potentially.
So I've been talking to a few people, and you've probably been around OOR a bit longer than I have. Oh, Bruce Miller with a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. Oof, naughty boy. I was going to say, for all the newer folk to OOR, who is Neil? And or should I say, why are we doing this benefit for him, apart from him being an absolute GC?
Neil Alexander is our big main man who founded OOR many moons ago, and there's obviously been the driving force of why we're all like a big, nice big community in the first place. And It's obviously a fantastic community. I've been around for a bit, too long, arguably. But yes, ever since I kind of started racing in OR since 2021, a few years ago now. Neil's always been there. Obviously, with his classic commentary, Neil Alexander, also known as Mullock. He's the big man at the top, and unfortunately, has had a fair few. Had to say some health issues. I'm sure the link will be put found, at least in our Discord, where anyone could put that in chat. That'll be lovely if one of the moderators is around. But we're looking to help him out with his medical expenses, and we just all wish him good, well, and everything to have him back, because we do miss him, and unfortunately he's had a fairly rough side of the go. Glory Babby now, just to touch back on our race, still hasn't boxed, so maybe he's going to leave it all the way to the end. Don't really want to count it, but I think he is pretty much a full sector ahead of Breno Ellis. As you can see, the 47, the triangle on the track map, as you see, just crosses the end of the second sector line. As Breno just starts the second sector start line. And yeah, I think it's I'm going to test myself here, but I think it's around a 45-second mid-sector on a very, very good lap, I will say. Probably around maybe 46 seconds in a race. And to be honest, from what we've seen as the pit stops here tonight, I'd say that if you don't take the tires, 45 seconds is around that time for the overall transit from entering the pit lane to the end, because it is quite a short pit lane here. Yeah, it is, not many garages, only about 20-second transit time, as he does get past one of the Ferraris, blue flagged as Glory Babby, so got to be very interested to see this. And there we are. Yep, the link is in chat for the GoFundMe, and yeah, thank you very much. Yep, all the story, all the details. I do apologize, I haven't got all the details, but yeah, and yeah, thank you very much to everyone. I'm sure I heard from Neil, and if not, if I understand, times and other people, if you haven't got anything to give, send Neil a message, and oh dear, there's a bit of a but send Neil a message. He'll really appreciate it. Just wish him well. 111 and 992 are yellowed at the hairpin. There's, I want to say, Wesley Yao, and I'm not sure who 111 is right now. It's Daniel Webb. Not sure.
That could be interesting, because they RTG'd as well.
Well, send Glenn on a replay hunt, but I'm guessing Mr. Webb had rejoined the race. There are points, points for all the finishers, so you just got to get to the end, or just at least participate. So I'm thinking at the end, not necessarily, it's better than a full zero drop round if you miss a race, just to get a couple of points on the board. But yeah, it looks like Wesley Yao has also been severely caught up in that and has gone to the. Oh, that's a good sound.
That's a good sound from our cameraman, isn't it?
Yeah, that's no.
Oh, I can't wait to see this one, actually.
The trepidation as Webb comes around Island Bend and looks at me. Oh, no. As Wesley Yao, I think, had his own accident and rejoins in the worst possible way. Oh.
I'm going to quote Glenn on that one. He should have stayed in bed, the poor man.
Yeah. Yeah. We knocked him down. He got back up, and we floored him back again.
I'm putting that evil on you. That wasn't me.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll be the recipient. I'm guessing, yeah, maybe Mr. Yao, who unfortunately was going well in P12. We can see right there. He looks like he had his own incident, and then unfortunately didn't look left and right on the rejoin. And that is a stop-go 30 for an unsafe rejoin from Wesley Yao. And I hate to say it, but quite deserved, and he's been around. He's been around for the last few seasons. Yeah, unfortunately, should know better. Make sure make sure no one's coming before you rejoin the track. If you have to set your track map to to display the whole thing, do that. And it's on you, really. As we see a replay here now, so he's missed the turn in, and he's just alone for the ride. He can hit the brakes all he wants, and he actually hasn't found the barrier, but he's gonna try and keep it going. No, and it's gone. Oh dear. Yeah.
I think I'm with a few people in chat. Just a moment of silence for him.
Yeah, moment of silence for Webb, please.
Yeah.
He's been the recipient of oh my god. I mean, we were talking about Neil. Neil is we know what Neil's like when it's he likes to commentate on rejoins.
He's definitely excitable. If anybody's seen the short replays that float around every now and again, he
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. Between him and Sean, this is the reasons that I actually tried to do comms, and I don't think I'll ever live up to Neil.
Neil had a way with words.
That's one way to put it. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. Is it Imola? The famous Imola?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Imola, or the Paul Ricard last corner with I think Bender.
It turns out there's more than I actually anticipated.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he said. He literally said the magic punt words, and I got punted one time as soon as it happened on stream one time. So I've been on the receiving end of Mr. Alexander. That didn't come out right. Don't say that ever again.
I completely ignored what you just said.
Good. That's fine. Yeah, ignore that. Cut that out. Anyway, Glory Babby still hasn't done his box. Still hasn't served his last stop. Burton's still in P3. Breno Ellis, I think, has escaped a penalty for that move into his slop. So the stewards, either that wasn't reported or, potentially, Renault, they deemed that Renault was either a racing incident or was in the right as well. We'll leave it at that one, but it looks like he has escaped a penalty for that one. It is still P2 and potentially might still be. He has had a fair bit of traffic to still go through with the few cars behind him, so it is. I feel like it's still Babby's to lose. I mean, that's it's generally stating the obvious when you're commenting on the leader.
That is a good comment. Does he realise that he's still got one? Surely he must do. Surely, Babby being as experienced as he is.
Surely. I mean, it's right there next to you on the timing board, that big sort of orangey yellow box with the 1 in it. It's not your position marker, that's for sure. We'll see. I wonder if it's going to be a last-minute stop. I hope he doesn't try a Schumacher, because I'm not sure those work in this race in ACC if you box on the final lap.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't tried that one personally.
It doesn't work, actually. I know that for sure, because it only clears the stop when you actually exit the pit lane, which I think is the race. No, but thankfully I've not done that. But yeah, I'm pretty certain on you only serve a stop once you actually exit the actual pit lane, and if that's you cross the line and race finish, that means you automatically get a penalty before then. So that ain't gonna fly. He's got a couple of rotations to still serve this stop. Let's see now, where is the number 1 car? He's still yet to go into Britain's chicane, just coming up now. So we'll time it from here. Yeah, he's boxing now. Let's see. Surely, nah, perfectly safe, perfectly fine. Frankly, this is a pit lane where if the 50 board is generally pretty safe, because if you manage to hit that, you're going to find something a bit more solid behind it.
Yeah, I've taken the advice from other comms, and I've done some pit stop practice, and I haven't met that wall yet, like I have in certain other tracks.
Oh, Kafil Slade with the drive-through. I'm guessing that's for
That'll be track limits, won't it?
track limits, yeah. See, Breno Ellis is coming up to the final corner now. I really doubt Glory Babby is gonna take tires. It is a very short run. The line is right there. You can see the board, and I think he's gonna be safe. He's gonna have the shorter run through the first corner, and he is going to retain the lead. There is Breno Ellis in the background, and you have to wonder. Surely the traffic might have cost him. He saw he had pace, and he's only that far behind despite all the calamities he had with the lap traffic, with the cars for position. Oh, that's gonna sting. But Glory Babby does what he needs to do. He's still P1, still 2 minutes to go, so he hasn't finished P1 just yet, but he's done everything right so far. Luke Johnson still holding down P4 ahead of Michael Babb and Dylan McDowd. A lot of game positions from him up into P6 ahead of Fakori and Murphy, with Godfrey and Goris making up the top 10. And speaking of actually, Goris, oh no, has Godfrey lost a position? I think he's just been ejected from the top 10. He's been kicked out of the nightclub by Kong in the Ferrari. Feels.
Sorry, yellow flags there actually. Just waiting to see, but they seem to have got going again.
Yeah, it's Oulton Park. We're pretty good for a few yellows here, to say the least. It's not just because of the split color. And don't go anywhere soon. We'll have split green with our other co-commentators later on, just after this split. But 1 minute left. This will be the last lap for these drivers, well, for the ones on the lead lap at least.
Well, let's face it, they'll be on the lead lap pretty shortly.
Oh yes, as I say, like, to be honest, for Oulton Park, yeah, these two are only separated by 2.5 seconds. Obviously Burton dropped back a little bit. He's down in P3, but only 10 seconds behind. Like, it's a place that can induce a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors. It's pretty good to have the leaders this close, come the end of the race.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good to have the leaders this close, and makes for exciting watching, and yeah, definitely exciting racing.
Let's see, he's going to arrive on the back of Slade and Godfrey, who are actually going for a position and going up the inside. Oh god, there's a yellow, the car stopped, and it's Slade gone round. Oh, Godfrey's been on the receiving end of a few times on the Hislop chicane. I think he's got damage on the front end of that Honda, so that might explain why he lost the position to Kong in such late succession, and suddenly to Slade as well. A bit of a scare for the leaders as they come through. Also a very close battle between McDowd and McFakori, but we're going to focus on the leaders right now. Babby ahead of Ellis, and I think Ellis is putting a bit of a statement in by closing a second on this lap alone. But he's going to come around for the final corner as Glory Babby in the 47 AMG crosses the line to win the second round here at Oulton Park for split yellow. Breno Ellis finishes P2 and extends his championship position. Logan Burton in the Logitech McLaren 49 closes up the podium. And with that one on the back, Luke Johnson in a bit of his own race in the Castrol McLaren, going around now for P4. It will be Michael Babb after him in the 666. A few of the gaps quite extended for his top 10, and Babby with a nice little slide on the exit as well in his excellent livery that we all love and have no opinions on. But it's still a battle now for P6 and P7, Dow and Fakori. Between the Pro and the Pro-Am, Fakori being real quick, getting very close, hopefully not too close, and might spoil his run now for the last corner. It should be day done for McDowell. Just get this last one done and secure yourself a nice P6 in the Porsche. Does a good job, and surely, yep, it is done for P6 for McDowell and P7 for Fakori. Harry Murphy here, and closes out P8 with Goris and Kong just closing in behind as well. 6 tenths between those two, so very good run to the end now for all of our top 10. Godfrey in the broken Honda with a few smatterings. Our last runner on the grid. Everyone else has been lapped. comes around now. Finished P11.
Yeah, that was a bit more eventful than I anticipated, actually, to be honest.
All right, so you want to run for the results for us, David?
Nah, you can do it, mate. I'm all right.
No worries.
You do a better job than I do.
Nah, debatable. Glory Barry now up to the top 3, followed by Ellis and Burton for our overall podium. And the silver now, the familiar signs of Babby and Burton. Surely those two are not long for the pro badge with Michael Babb in P3. And Pro-Am set up by McCory, Murphy, and Goris for our Pro-Am drivers. And for AMs is Miller, Atanyake, and Kranich. So a good round here at Split Yellow. We'll hand things over to Split Green. I think we'll have a short interlude in between. And yeah, that'll be it from me and David.
Yeah, we'll look forward to the next race, and we will be back next week. Oh, you might not be, will you, Cameron?
Nah, we'll be me and Hobbsy on the switching sides tag team style battle. So you'll have Hobbo back again for next week.
Oh, yay. Look forward to it.
No worries. Catch you later.
Evening all. Hope you're enjoying your wonderful Wednesday. We're back with the Simrigs Sprint Series brought to you by Octane Online Racing. It's split green, it's Wednesdays, it's Oulton Park. My name's Connor Hine. I'm joined in the box by Luke Fluky Johnson. How are you, mate?
I'm well, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Keen to see some action around what I consider a mid-tier track.
Oh, only mid-tier. Normally with you, it's either like top tier or it's bottom tier. There's no mid-tier with you, I thought. So I don't mind Oulton Park too much from a hot lapping perspective, but in GT3 cars, man, racing here is hard. It's incredibly difficult to pass here, but I don't dislike it all the same. But yeah, excited for Split Green to see what they bring to the table.
For the Bathurst 12-hour for Mullock. Get around it. If you haven't registered your car, get on it now. February 15th. Benefit for Mull. You'll see all the details if you go on the website or if you're part of Discord or whatever. But Boosted Media, massive shout out to Will and the guys at Boosted Media that jumped on board as the sponsor for the event and hopefully going forward. So best event of the year. Just get around it. I can't say it enough.
It's a top event. It's definitely one, if you haven't signed up for yet, get on board because it is the pinnacle event of the year. You're in it, I'm in it, I'm keen for it, and that grid is filling fast. So if you haven't already, grab a few of your mates and jump in and enjoy the 12 hours Bathurst hosted by Boosted Media.
Yeah, absolutely. At the best track on the planet, in the game, just ever, everywhere. That track gets me frothing at the mouth. But
yeah, for sure.
Back to Split Green. I think, who have we got? So we've got Hill and a Honda. Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't commentate last week, so it'd be interesting to see. I'm kind of seeing for the first time what's going on. So you got some usual names in here, like Thurkalini, Weatherburn, Hill. Who else we got? Tafik. Tafik's part of this grid, right?
Tafik's absolutely part of this grid. He had a top quality at Silverstone last week, but I do want to shout out, we weren't here for it, but Turcolini wasn't cursed. He was promoted to pro after a stellar performance last week. Neither of us there were there to curse it, and it worked out for him. So he's probably frothing at the mouth that you and I are here, mate, because we seem to be the sole reason he's not always up there.
Look, you've absolutely cursed him in the bin right now already. He's still running the same livery. That livery's pretty classic, the old Relax More Racing livery. I hope he does get up. He's improved tons over the years and over the season, so it's good to see him finally, like all the hard work he puts in that pays off.
Absolutely.
Who else do we have in this? How many cars? We've got 21 cars tonight. There's some names I don't really recognise on the leaderboard there, so it'd just be interesting. I'd nearly go someone like maybe like a Hill or someone for quali pole, but then someone else could come from one of the lower classes and surprise us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my money is going to be on Tafik this week. I think he was putting on a bit of practice and didn't mind this track. So I think that's where my money is going to be tonight.
Yeah, that's a reliable shout. Tafik and a Ferrari is synonymous. It's like bacon and eggs, really, isn't it? It just goes hand in hand, Tafik and a Ferrari. So, yep. I think, yeah, it's a good shout. What do you think, chat? Who do you think's going to get pole for us tonight? 9 minutes to go in qualifying. What are we looking for here? It's like, is it 32s for the pros and then back for like your silvers, pro-ams and amps?
Yeah. Yep. So we're probably expecting a really low 32 up the front, unless you're absolutely cracked and can get into those 31s in an Aston. But yeah, we're probably looking at the low 32s, probably a 32-1, 32-2. We're probably expecting tonight, and then yeah, down from there. So it's pretty cracking pace for around here. It's balls to the wall, that's for sure.
Yeah, you definitely got.
We love to see look at him slap those stickers on that 844 Porsche. You'll love to see it. Shows progression, shows the trenches that he has fought through in order to get to the top class here. Yeah, love to see it.
You are just absolutely cursing him even more. You are absolutely sending him to the sin bin with just all this praise you're giving him right now. It's good to see. It's good to see. It's a good part of the livery. We also have Barker in this split, so Barker's got and Jer Coman. So there's two names who could also mix it up there. But like this track,
Benny Hignett to not share the same finish track with.
Ben's not a friend. Ben is not a friend. He's not a friend, you know. As we jump on board with Jer Coman, 34 flat. He's teetering around that time. He's gained some time going around the corner there. I don't really know. Have we got Druid's corner? Okay, I'm going to pick up on the names here. I'm not too familiar with the names as he fires down into Lodge. It's kind of a track. It's one of them circuits where like there's no brakes. You're kind of full on concentrating, locked in the whole time. There's no brakes. There's no letting up. It's like it's one moment between, as you've seen there with Jer Coman, T1 invalidation and a good lap, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a short lap. It's only a minute and a half, but yeah, holy crap, it doesn't let up at all, and it's very, very easy to invalidate those T1s. There's just no room for error. As soon as you're a millimetre past that white line on the tarmac, onto the curb, doesn't matter. Bam, invalidation. So you've just got to be committed. But it can all fall apart at any second.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell you, I'm going to give Hill a shout out here. I'm not a massive Honda fan. Like I don't love it or hate it, but that purple on that livery is fine. That is really nice. It just pops.
Yeah, it looks good. I dig it. Absolutely.
I never thought I'd see Hill in there, because Hill was for so long in like a McLaren and a BMW. I never thought I'd see him go to like, I thought it'd just be natural progression to go to like a Ferrari or something like that. But no, he's mixed it up. He's gone super GT, and we've got to respect it. That means the career progression path of Hill is to the soy sauce GTR after this. It has to be.
Absolutely, it has to be. It has to be the GTR. Absolutely, it's the only natural progression that comes from this. He will fall in love with that Super GT Japanese soy sauce. Yeah.
It's the only way that kind of you could progress through your career mode that is ACC, isn't it? You just kind of, there's just levels to it, and he's experiencing those levels. Yeah, so if you jump on board so we're rolling around with Hill. Hill's in P2, almost a 10th off of Yoda. So Weatherburn in P1 with a 33 flat. We jump to Feeks in P3, 2/10 off. Marshall, another one, Marshall too. I completely forgot he was in this split, but he's 3/10 off. Down to King in P5 for a Pro-Am entry. Nice job there. 6/10 back from the 33 flat. So yeah, you're kind of seeing most of the names up there, you'd think. There's a couple of names down the leaderboard that hopefully they get a good lap or two in as time's running down. I'm sorry as well, but I love Ryden Shogun. That name, that's top tier. He better get a podium.
He better get a podium, especially in the color. Like, what's he got on the Merc there?
I think it's anime something, but I don't know the anime.
I don't recognize it at all, but bringing the anime power to the track.
I'm a fan of the colour. I'm a massive fan of like purple and pink on race cars. I think it looks good, looks tough.
Yeah, it's great. I love that. Like, I love how you can get like an 80s vibe out of the purple and pink. It's sick. Get that real synth vibe going.
Yeah, Absolutely. And he's just going to go through Lodge. 2/10 up, loses a bit on exit. Come on, hold it, son. Hold it, hold it. Oh, he's going to improve marginally, but he does have another couple of runs at it. So let's see how Shogun goes. A lot in the, Weatherburn seems to be hindered on a fast lap by the McLaren in front. So... Ooh, okay, so we just got word in, Weatherburn was 3/10 up on that lap before he's been held up. So if you're Yoda right now, you just back it off, try and keep the tyres as warm as possible. You got a gap behind, maintain that gap, and then just full push.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely got the pace in that Mustang to absolutely gap the rest of the grid here, but we'll see. Yeah, Cameron come across the line. He's got half a second up, but he didn't validate possibly at turn 1 again. Oh, no, that counted. Sorry, that was a ACC glitch. My bad. I keep getting caught out by that. So he's jumped a good couple of positions up into P6, but we'll see. He's already 2/10 up, just going through the first 2 corners. So he has quite a few positions to gain here if he keeps his speed up.
Yeah, as long as you... And it's like things like if you run wide there and then you mess up the entry into this hairpin, so Shell's Oil's corner, love that name. Like, you can lose so much time through just a poor exit as he jumps through Britain's, just try and eat as much curb as you can, as much as the car will take, nom, nom, nom. And he comes out of it. Oh, he's 3.5 up. It's looking good if he can hold it.
Yeah, if he can hold it and gain similar amount of time that he has in the last 2 sectors in the last sector, he could be on for a pole here if he really just keeps it together. As you see a big bale of tyres off to the side there. Love to see instructions on the track, bring out the marshals.
I reckon the marshals should leave it there, add it as like a road cone. Everyone must go around it every 3rd lap.
Start putting joker laps in on Oulton Park, might make it more exciting.
Oh, as he goes down into Lodge, he's gonna gain a little bit. Look at that! Look at the time crawl. 6.5 has. If Weatherburn hasn't improved yet, we have Chair Coleman on pole with a 32.9. What a cracking lap! He's got time to improve again if he can. Look at a bit squirrely on the exit through T1. So can Yoda and Hill, Rad, or Tafiq, even Marshall, can they respond?
Well, I guess we'll find out any second now. Hill only a couple of tons behind and he's just invalidated just as we jump to him. That's a commentator's curse if you've ever seen one. Yoda out on track. He's got 1 more lap to go. I think he's going to get hindered by whoever's in front of him here if he doesn't get a move on. We'll find out in a second. Marshall jumped to P1 in the 111 McLaren.
That is close. That is close.
With the top podium spots for qualifying. All to play for at the moment. It's very close up there. You see that Marshall isn't improving at this point in time. G. Combs matching his time. Might have found half a 10th through the second chicane area here. I'm also going to be learning stuff. The hill slops. That's a interesting name if I've ever seen one. He's going to be he's going to match his time. His slop? Connor's slop?
We'll just call it slops.
We'll just call it slops. Well, I love how slops goes into Knickerbrook. So they were definitely drunk. They were at the pub.
It's going to be.
The corner.
It's going to be.
He's going to improve. He's going to get the pole only by a fraction of a second, ladies and gentlemen. There it is, 32.
Good lap, good quality.
Love to see it.
Oh, that's such a tough corner to go around.
We want to curse anybody else. Can we get in chat? It's not who's going to take pole and who's going to take the win. Can it just be who the commentators are going to curse and bless throughout this race? Because I think
all Fluky's fault.
Look, send your receipts to Crow's Nest, New South Wales, Lockbag 9999, and I will check those myself. As we see Bishop now in the Pro-Am Lamborghini, he's 10.5 up. Could potentially push him up in front of Vintner if he's got the pace going into the final corner. Deep under brakes. We see him accelerate out, looking very stable on exit, but unfortunately I think it's not gonna be enough, and he's gonna finish off in P8.
Still a decent quality for Bishop. That's a good starting place to be at. You kind of also, at this kind of track, you do want to be up in the front for 4 spots, really. Absolutely, I agree, Slatey. Bishop for silver. Let's get another promotion going this week. Promotion. As we set out the grid, so P1 is Luca Giacomin, P2 is Lucas Marshall, P3 is Jacob Weatherburn, P4 is Graham Hill, and P5's John Rad, P6 Tafik, P7 Benny Vintner, P8 Bishop, P9 George, I'm sorry, I still can't pronounce your last name, and P10 is the best name on the grid, and he's absolutely going to score a podium, and I have absolutely jinxed him, is Ryden Shogun.
You've cursed the crap out of him, and it's all your fault.
Look, just send your receipt, mate, to across the water via messenger pigeon to Rasmania, and I don't know, one of us with 2 heads will sort it out.
Yeah. That's... Yes, absolutely. I agree. 100%. Now, who's your pick for the race win tonight, Mr. Hind?
Hard to go past. So those top 3 to 4 were within 2/10. So looking at the pace there, it's hard to go past one of them 4. I'm gonna go Giacomin, because in the past, once Giacomin gets ahead, if he navigates turn 1 well, once he's ahead, he's very hard to like stop and catch. Like, he seems to just gain momentum, having that fresh air.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's just an absolute beast behind the wheel when there's no one in front of him. Gets that clean air, and he can just bang out consistent lap after consistent lap. It's definitely a sight to behold, and one you don't want to see when his tail lights are in front of you. But I think it's going to be an awesome battle for second place as well. Marshall, Weatherburn, Hill. I think it's going to be for the podium spots. I think those top 4 guys are going to absolutely send it. It's a 2-stopper tonight. The mandatory requirement tonight's only fuel, which has a fixed time of 25 seconds. So you've got the choice to take tyres if you want, but it's an extra 5 seconds in your stop to do it. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies some of the drivers, particularly the front runners, come up with. Sometimes, I mean, personally, I took tyres in both my stints, pit stops, for the race before, just because I was yeeting it over some of those curbs, and I wanted to mitigate some of the pressure loss. But if you're careful with your tyres and they last a lot longer, you still at the pace, it might be worth not swapping and just filling the fuel and keeping that track position, which is so important here at Oulton Park.
Tracks like this is track position is king. Small, tight tracks where close racing is like, and something like a small mistake can net you 3 positions lost in the blink of an eye. I think, yeah, it also plays into, like, you could go in with a game plan and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, be routine, be coordinated, and be like, you know, this is what's going to happen. But until you're on the moment in the fly, you kind of don't know, and you kind of just got to pick and guess right then and there. Like, okay, I do have a gap, or I'm in a battle, I need the tyres, I need the track position, you know. But then it also comes to the skill set of, can you manage those tyres once they've gotten cold if you don't take them? Or, like, you know, how confident are you pushing and overtaking once you've taken the tyres too?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, I don't think we're going to see the same strategy from the top guys. I think everyone's going to play a little bit differently, and it'll be really interesting to see which one comes out on top.
It will be interesting. I just want to, hello Brad, hello to everyone at Bathurst. Hope you will enjoy the 12-hour. Everyone who's going up there, it'll be a fun weekend. We're sitting back here watching Oulton Park. definitely not as good of a track, but, you know, we're here. We're ready to roll. It's a 1 hour race. I think as we jump on board, gamble, I want to love the Audi so bad. I just want to. I just want to love it.
I want to love it so bad as well. I'm really on board with you on that one. It's something that I just really want to love and just can't. I just can't.
It's just demonic, and that's what I love about it too. But it comes at a price. So, the price being that it just hates you when you drive it. So I reckon you got us, Fluky. Take us away for the start of round 2 of Split Green.
All right. Welcome everyone to Luke's AMSR. My Bubs has just been put to sleep, so if I get too excited and wake him up, I will hear about it in the morning or right now. But we're going to start. We're going to go two by two, side by side. Into the start, we're going to get a green light here any second. It's Giacomo, Marshall, Weatherburn, Hill and Rad, your top 5. And it's race start. We're green, go. We're going to go into turn 1. I can't see what the hell's going on, but it looks like Giacomo's absolutely centered up the inside and he's managed to keep the first position. Everybody seems to be relatively clean. We've got a little bit of door banging towards the back there, but there doesn't seem to be anything crazy. It seems that Marshall has managed to keep second place in front of Weatherburn. It's all a bit of an orderly single file, as you should be at Oulton Park, going into Island Bend, which is one that can catch a few drivers out, especially if you hit those tyre barriers going into Shell Oil's corner. Love the name. I love the corner. We're going to continue to go. Single file. I think we've got a bit of a side-by-side there. Yes, we do. Hill under attack from Rad. Rad's going to absolutely send it up the inside. He's sent it over the bumps, and that is an incredible move by Rad in the McLaren. You'll love to see it, and now that means that Hill, Tafik, Vintner are all going to be under attack. Like, squabble for position. Hill's going to keep it. And we've got Rad managing to stay out in front. The top 3 have off. We've got Giacomo and Marshall Weatherburn, 1, 2, 3. We're going to see if Hill can keep the position in 5. Tafik and Vintner looking very racy behind. We're going to come round into sector 3. Tafik looking like he might be under a bit of pressure, and there's a bit of a queue behind him, but we will see. Sends it very deep into the last corner. And we've got side by Shogun and the Aston Martin of King. Looks like King might be able to take the position. We've got a few runners going into the pits. Who's that? Tafik's into the pits. So he's going to take an alternate strat, see if he can get some fresh air and absolutely just pump out some of those amazing laps that we've seen before. So Shogun loses that position to King, and he's got a very racy looking Turcolini right behind him. We've managed to see that Hill's managed to gap Vintner just a little bit. Vintner looking like he's going to be under a bit of pressure there from George. I will refuse to butcher your last name any further. So Hill's going to keep 5th. He's got a little bit of breathing room, and we'll see if he can send it up on Rad. Give a bit of a return serve as we go into, we call them Britain's chicane, the first chicane there, where you can absolutely send it. And we're going to see that Hill is looking very racy on Rad. So very clean looking. Oh no, as I say that, looks like a couple of back markers there have lost it through the chicane there, but pretty clean couple of laps there overall. I think it's Split Green have really behaved themselves.
Yeah, fairly clean start. You love to see it. Everyone kind of just getting away as much as possible. This is an interesting strat from Tafik if he actually planned to do it. I know, like, the Ferrari tyre wear is good. It's amazing, but I suppose he has another stop, so it's just 2 ones. But it'll be interesting to see if his pace on that gamble is going to pay off. So we jump back up to the front. Marshall takes the fastest lap, and he's kind of looking the pressure up on Giacomo here. Weatherburn's just sitting in the background, kind of wondering what's going on. These 3 on pace alone have started to stretch their legs and gap from Rad. Hill doesn't want to let them go too far, so he'll have to try and make some work of Rad in the next few laps. But Vintner's also sitting there lurking behind in that battle. yeah, Lucas Marshall is looking very racy on Jack Homan right now.
Yeah, he's got the purple lap, and we can see that he is really starting to settle behind Giacomin. So we'll see. It is very, very difficult to pass him. We'll see if maybe Giacomin's just taking it a little bit easy to see if he can just keep those tyres settled and potentially take him a little bit longer and not have to change him in his first stop. But he better be careful, because it doesn't take much to get a little bit of a bump here and throw the entire car off into the wind. So he is going to have to get a little bit of a move on if he's going to reduce the threat from Marshall behind.
Yeah, absolutely. He kind of takes a lot of curbing there, and I don't know if that upset him or not. But these three looking incredibly racy. Yeah, they extended the gap on Rad a little bit. So we'll stay on this battle here to see what these front runners do. But it's finding the passing opportunity, and like if Marshall does have the pace and he shows it over the next couple of laps over Jack Homan, do you pit for fresh air? Like, because sitting behind Jack Homan, like, and finding the optimum time to get a pass is just kind of a detriment to your own race in a way here.
It is, but you also take the risk of a lot of the field, the back of the field spreading out across this lap quite significantly. So if you hit and get the fresh pace, you do potentially run into the back of the field, and the back of the field, unless they're blue flagged, is not entitled to move out of the way for you. And as it is really hard to pass here on pace alone, you do potentially actually end up behind a even slower car. So you've got to take that into consideration, and that goes actually the other way as well. If a slower or a lower classed car decides to take the alternate strat and go really long in the first stint, they can potentially hold up some of the front runners who have pitted earlier and can cause all sorts of calamity.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, just want to sound off in chat too. So we have Paul G in chat who's saying, I guess he doesn't like Oulton doing 34s here, but 28's a Red Bull ring and loves it. Yeah. And then obviously Babby in chat saying 34s are still generally quick, and most league racing kind of skews the perception what's quick and what's not. Yeah, if you're new and you haven't done a lot of racing kind of before ACC or sim racing or whatever, like leagues generally are a lot quicker than your average player base and pub lobbies and whatever, and it just is what it is. You have a lot of talented people gathered together for the competitive side to go at it. So yeah, I mean 34s, if you keep cracking at it and knocking on it, you'll eventually knock it down to a 33 and then a 32 if you keep working at it. But good job on your 28s at Red Bull. That's still a very quick time for around there, so just keep at it for anyone out there who wants to, you know, look at having a dip and improving in sim racing.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you got to start somewhere as well. Like, some of these guys have been racing the entire time that ACC has been out at a competitive level. And like Gorilla says, like, it does kind of potentially skew your perception of what's quick and what isn't when you constantly see these kind of guys putting in the top 0.1% of lap times. And with times like 34 is quick, and you've got plenty of people to race at that pace, 100%. So if you are looking at some of these front runners thinking, holy crap, these are some fast blokes, yeah, you're absolutely right. But the best thing about league racing is that you kind of do find the people that are around about your pace, and you do start a bit of a rivalry. A bit of competitiveness throughout an entire season as you start matching pace, and you start to see if you can pit them and get a little bit faster, and you learn some faster lines and learn to set up the car properly, and you can really find that league racing is an incredible way to improve yourself. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, as what's sounding off in chat right now, as we watch on board with these guys still in their battle, they haven't really moved a lot, but like, some people are just better at certain tracks. Like, some people just get better easier, or are just naturally inclined to like be better at, be more skilled at, or like kind of become more in tune with a certain track. And whether it's for a love of it, or whether it's just that type of track suits their driving style, the car they're in, or whatever. So it can skew. Like, people have slow tracks, people have fast tracks, and people just have tracks that, like, once the footwork in, they're at their pace level. So And for a lot of people, a track like Oulton is one where they've got to work really hard at, because it is a tight, technical and difficult track. So, and all it takes, I suppose it depends on how much you want to put in work to it. Like if, then if you can kind of see within yourself like that slowly little incremental gains, then that's all that should really kind of matter.
At the end of the day, you're your biggest competitor. And that's how I kind of approach sim racing in general, is that if I come back to a track in a new season of the league, it's ultimately the first thing I do is check the time that I did last time. And my goal, regardless of where the competition is to see if I can beat myself. That's not how everybody approaches racing. Obviously, people want to win and people want to do as best as they can. I want to as well. But from my personal self, it's about racing myself to a degree and finding that improvement each time I visit a track.
For me, it's about telling people about the optimum view settings of this game.
Let me guess. The hands.
So,
Hands.
yes, the stock standard view that's in this game is how I like to drive, because I have to see the hands in the game to match up to my hands in real life.
Yeah, so chat, this guy over here plays on a flat screen with the hands. Can we please just get a vote in chat to see just how wrong Connor is?
I need Stevie Ty here to back me up, so please someone get Stevie Ty here, who's also a fellow hands cam enjoyer. But I also race with the number plates above, the nameplates above every car.
Yeah,
good.
My immersion, Connor. My immersion. Yeah, at least you know exactly who's in front of you. At least you know exactly who's in front of you.
I know, and I can see, I can match my hands up mid-corner to, to doing exactly what's on the screen as to what's in real life. It's absolutely greatness.
So annoying that you're so much faster than me and you race like that. It's, I race in VR and people have plenty of opinions about racing in VR, so by default I have to have the hands. I don't have a choice there, because my immersion. But yeah, me personally, I love racing in VR.
Yeah, and it depends. Like, everyone's obviously different, and everyone races in their own way. I mean, like, I'm also a Delta enjoyer. I have the Delta sitting up there in the top of the screen, and I'm looking at it midway through the corner. I just can't not. I just have to see it there. I have to see it's green or red. Like, I just have to look at it.
So do I, but that catches me out so much sometimes. I focus on it so much that I bottle it anyway.
But see, if it's green and you're focused on it, it means you're doing well.
Yes, but I will then immediately go into the final corner and completely bottle it and go into the red. As we see Mr. Vintner getting a stop-go 30. If we focus back on the track for 2 seconds, he clearly sped in the pits, which is really unfortunate, so he's going to have to serve that one. And the fastest lap, Luca Giacomin, who is out in first with a 33.0, I'm pretty sure that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, 33.0. So Luke has stepped up the pace and is kind of telling Marshall and even Yoda behind to, come on, boys. Like, I'm going to dangle the carrot and see if you boys have the pace to keep up with me. So let's see if they can match them, as Marshall's got up well up behind him again after he dropped off a little bit. So maybe he does. Maybe they're going tit for tat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've both got the 33.0 laps, so expect a bit of back and forth from these two.
They're kind of actually dropping Yoda a little bit. Like, Yoda's backed over a second behind Marshall now, so kind of unless he's going to a phase in the tyre that he just can't handle as well, but these two are definitely stretching their legs over the rest of the field right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll see, because it's going to be very hard for Marshall to get past Jay Coleman at this rate if they're going lap for lap. But see, it only takes the smallest mistake around here to really end up getting it all wrong. So see how these two go.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have who is in? So Shogun's in pit lane right now. Man, that name, like, he could be from some dynasty from a long lost time and we would never know. He's just found a time travel device to come forward to race. That's round 2 of the Simrigs Sprint Series. You never know. Maybe they had sim racing back then. You never know.
Yes, maybe they did.
Maybe they did. You just don't know. We've lost someone, I think, or lost a couple of people. So that's interesting. I think we have, yes. But I just want to say, Thurcolini's jumped up from his qualifying. He's into the top 10, so he's kind of making his way forward a little bit. Tafik and Barker have both done a stop. Vintner, Shogun have done a stop as well. So that's kind of where our pit stop battle is right now. So be interesting to see who jumps next on going into pit lane.
And it'd be interesting to see. I mean, I imagine Tafik didn't take tyres, so the fact that he's got more than 5 seconds up on Barker means that we see a big slide there from Jay Coleman in the Ferrari, and that's going to invite Marshall right back up behind him again. We'll see. He's going to stick the nose out just to tell Jay Coleman that he's here, and he's not getting away anytime soon. Absolute
tank slapper. You love to see it. Definitely has some beats going on in the cockpit of that car, I can tell you what. But he's still kind of just... Marshall's not quite quick enough to kind of pressure him enough. He's just kind of there, waiting, just sitting there. They've dropped Weatherburn by another 3 seconds. Rad is back in kind of being pressured by Hill by the looks. You kind of got people in pairs of 2. So kind of little pairs of 2 gaps, and it'll be interesting to see if Hill can get the move done on Rad and make his march forward towards Weatherburn. But yeah, kind of everyone's just kind of conga lining it along. This will be a phase of the race where everyone's just kind of, you know, easing through, just trying to push, but not push too many limits to kind of get towards their first stops.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're not too far away now from that first third of the race being completed. We've got about 3.5 minutes to go, so we will potentially see some of these front runners pit in the next 2 laps. And it will be interesting to see whether Tafik there, who's got a big gap between him and Oliver in front. So we'll be interested to see if Tafik's had the fresh air that he's so wanted to seek after, and see if he has caught himself up into where some of these guys have been battling for the last, few laps, potentially slowing them down. It could have been the viable strat.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, like, that kind of strat is really only viable if, one, you have that, you're confident you have that much pace. No! Ryder, what are you doing?
Drive through for a collision. Drive through for a collision. That must be exceptionally heinous. We better call the special victims unit for that one, because if it's a drive through for a collision, we need to get a replay of it.
I think also we need a redo of that. A man with that good of a name can't get a drive-through. So, I'm a bit up. No, I did actually curse him pretty hard.
You cursed the hell out of him. That's all we seem to be good for at the moment, is just cursing the crap out of these guys.
So we have Hills jumped and gone into the pits, so we'll see whether that's a good call, because he was right up on the back of Rad in P4 battling, so we'll see where that sits him. And Gamble has also is taking the gamble. Yes, good one.
I mean, he's taken the Audi and he's pitting before the third, so stop go for what has Shogun done? He's got to stop go 30 for an region. So he is caused all sorts.
Okay, he's and he's hit circulating. Oh no.
Held his brakes, and it's oh my god. Oh,
okay, that one's definitely leaving that up to the stewards have decided on that. We have no part to play in that. anyway, as I was saying before, if you're Tafiq and you took that gamble, you really had to be confident in your pace that you were faster than the field, or that like you could in clean air lap as fast as the front runners or faster. Like that, for him to take that gamble, he had to be sure of it.
Yeah, absolutely. He had to be confident in his pace, and I think he was. I think he was a little bit out of position there based on some of the pace that we've potentially seen out of him. So he might have known that he could, with a bit of fresh air, possibly extract a bit more out of that car. So we've seen Hill. He's probably one of the first top runners to, that is a very second-hand looking McLaren that Giacomo's coming up on at the moment. So we'll see where Hill's come out. Hill has come out behind Tafiq by a whole second, nearly 2 seconds. So Tafiq definitely making the position there. Oh, Hill's made a mistake. He's cut the corner on his outlap.
Definitely called Jim's mowing on that one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, from that, losing the extra second, so it's put him behind Tafiq. But that means, so Tafiq was P7 or 6, no, P7. So Tafiq essentially jumped a couple of spots by that strategy alone.
Yeah, he's potentially looking at a 4th or 5th at the moment, based on his strategy. So he's definitely made a couple of positions.
So yeah, it has worked out in the long run, but whether he's probably still a bit off the top 3 battle. So, but for, like, he's looking at the probably 4th place with Rad, depending on when Rad pits. That's probably where he's looking at, because Hill was right on top of Rad. So look for Tafiq to probably get in that kind of P4 spot come the next stops.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's definitely got the pace for it at the moment. So it's all to play for at the moment. As we see Giacomo on screen at the moment, he's still at the fastest lap. Marshall's dropped down by just over a second, but I think he's managed to make that all back. I think he's cut that chicane pretty hard. So slowly reeling Giacomo back in, making sure he's not getting too comfortable. And it'll be interesting to see which one of the leaders cracks first and jumps into the pits.
It depends on fuel loads, but like I would definitely run a little bit longer here for stint 1 if I qualified MP1, and because you want to hope you maintain that P1 going through T1 on the outlap. So I think Giacomo maybe might have fueled up for a little bit longer. You nearly got to, if you Marshall, pit first to just try and like undercut him or something. I would think
you got to try something. So we've got nearly 4 seconds to Weatherburn, so he could potentially lose out if he takes fresh tyres. Potentially lose out to Weatherburn in the pits, but I have to agree with you on that one. I think maybe potentially put some fresh rubber on pit first, put some fresh rubber on, yeet the curb, and just see how much you can potentially undercut Giacomo, and if Giacomo's just kind of cruising along and holding you off at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless things are really dire, I just don't think that early on is to change tyres, unless, like, you know, you've got that much of a gap. But, like, was it hard to bring them back up into the window after they got cold if you didn't take the tyres? Did you take tyres both stops?
I took tyres both stops, so I was absolutely yeeting it over the first chicane curb, and I had pressure loss in my rear tyres that was dropping into the 25s. So I was attempting to pump out quali laps I had a little bit of damage on the front, so a little bit understeery, but I was attempting to pump out quali laps and just wear the tyres down to absolutely nothing and take it and going again. I had, in both my pit stops, the direct competitor behind me more than 5 seconds gapped, so I wasn't really looking out at losing out from the cars behind. I was purely focusing on trying to get some pace on the guys in front. So I don't know if you leave the tyres on, whether they cool down that much. The pit lane isn't very long at all. It's only it's a very, very short pit lane, so the tyres may stay a little bit cool. A little bit warm, sorry. But yeah, I mean, I was trying to deal with pressure loss, so I just dumped fresh tyres straight back on. I mean, you can see here, like we were, a couple of laps ago, Marshall was over a second behind Jay Coleman, and he's now right on the bumper of him. So clearly got a lot of pace in that McLaren, but Jay Coleman's just absolutely cruising. Got the car on cruise control. Oh, as we see, he goes a little bit wide there, and they're going to go side by side. Marshall's going to have the run, but Jay Coleman's going to have the inside line. A little squirrely under brakes there. He's going to keep the position, and Marshall's going to have to slot in behind. But I think you're right. Marshall's clearly got the pace here that you'd be thinking he'd have to consider taking a stop very, very soon.
Yeah, to do something different, because like it still gives you opportunity then you've got 30 minutes left of the race to do something different or something else, whether it doesn't work out or not. But it's kind of just right now, unless they're just going to do, if he sees Jay Coleman going, he's just going to mirror him and match him. Nah, Marshall's gone.
There we go.
So Marshall's gone in, so let's see. Hopefully he has a good stop and nails his box and nails the pit stop, and then we'll see if Jay Coleman comes in this very next lap to try to kind of cover that off.
Cover him off, yeah, absolutely. So it's definitely the one to keep an eye on. I mean, his last lap was only a 33.7, and I think Marshall's definitely got the pace to do a bit more than that. So it'd be interesting to see whether he does put the fresh boots on and whether Burn kind of ends up in and around, Marshall's position.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, so Yoda's gone again, Rad's going again. Be interesting to see. Griffith has gone again, I think. So, yeah, okay, we've got quite a few people. Maybe some people are going to run the full half hour. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the strat seems for them would be run to the half race, swap tyres, do the fuel, and then maybe do a splash and dash, maybe half again. Oh, so we see Marshall looking like he's going to try and take Jones down. So this is the gamble that you take, right? Depending on who the car is in front, if that car in front hasn't done 2 pit stops, like Jones, they're very much entitled to fight for his position, and that's something that the front runners potentially need to look out for, because if he defends hard, you're going to get very stuck. But yeah, interesting to see many people still holding out. There we go, Jay Coleman's pit. Jay Coleman and Weatherburn. They're going to try and cover off Marshall. So Marshall's going to lose a little bit of time out. Then the interesting thing to mention is Tafiq is behind these guys, and it looks like it's by a considerable margin. He's not on screen at the moment. He's a whole corner behind. He's only going through the second to last now. So what's the...
But as I said, that puts him in that battle with Rad.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's the interesting thing. Like, Jay Coleman's leaving.
Oh, wow. What? Yeah, okay. Has Jay Coleman had a really, really, really bad stop? Did Jay Coleman take tyres, actually? He'd have to have. But
that's more than that. Is that more than 5 seconds? We'll see it in the timing board shortly, but that looks to be more than we've got a car off into the hairpin. So Jay Coleman 5.5 plus 1.5. So there's been a huge discrepancy there. He's got 7 and a bit seconds on him there. So what's Jay Coleman?
He's probably obviously taken tyres, but he's probably also stuffed up either the entry or the actual stop itself.
Yeah, because Marshall was held up a little bit from the car in front, not by much, but I didn't think their pace discrepancy was going to be that big. And that leaves Weatherburn only 2 seconds behind Jay Coleman. So I'd say that there's been a little bit of a bugger up there. Marshall's potentially not yeah, Marshall potentially not taking tyres while G. Coman and Weatherburn have. So see now what kind of lap times these guys are indicatively doing, and then you've got Tafiq, who's another 3 seconds behind Weatherburn. So Tafiq in front of Hill, behind Weatherburn, he's got himself up there. We'll see where Rad comes out when he takes his pit stop, hopefully shortly. But Marshall here sitting in the provisional P1 spot right now.
Yeah, P1 provisionally. G. Coman has the fastest lap. So Marshall's P1, G. Coman P2 provisionally, Weatherburn P3, Tafiq P4, who's gaining away from Hill in P5. So that's kind of your race leads there. It'll be interesting to see where Rad kind of feels into the mix once he's done his pit stop, because he was P4 on track, but I feel like he's going to drop behind both Hill and Tafiq to like P6, I reckon.
Yeah, and this is Marshall's worst nightmare. As I was mentioning earlier, Griffith's here in the AM Lamborghini. He hasn't completed any pit stops yet, but he has every right. He's not a blue flag. He has every right to just stick to his racing line, defend like he wants to. And that's got to be frustrating for Marshall. He's tried to get the time advantage as much as he can, and that would be bleeding time for him at the moment, being stuck behind Griffiths. So
I would, yeah, he's entitled to, or they're entitled to be in that position and be where they are. But yeah, being a front runner, it's kind of, it is annoying for your own race, but like also you got to respect other people on track. And kind of the earliest, safest opportunity, just try and get the move done.
Yeah, absolutely. He has to respect the space. I think it's a debate on the sportsmanship of either case, knowing that you're an AM car who hasn't completed your pit stop yet, knowing that the front runner is right behind you. As we see, he goes very wide there. So whether that was intentional, looked like it. So clearly knowing that this isn't his race, and it's just going to slow him down defending against a front runner. But yeah, that's not inflicted too much damage, considering that G. Coman's only gained about a second in that whole lap.
Sorry, I meant to say Blake is a lady, so my apologies to Blake. But yeah, it hasn't inflicted too much. Blake can get on with her race, and Marshall can now get on with his race, and kind of like, you know, go their own ways, really. It kind of hasn't inflicted too much damage into G. Coman. Weatherburn is 4 seconds away from G. Coman. Tafiq, kind of everyone's spaced out. Rad. So yeah, Rad's fallen behind Tafiq. Hill has jumped early for his second stop though, so he's done both.
Oh, he has too. He's down in 15th there, first of the front runners. As we see, G. Coman now's got the pedal to the floor, more right foot, 32.8, which is a cracking race time. So we'll see if that time potentially creeps up. So yeah, so he's now what, 5.5 seconds. So he's slowly gaining time on Marshall. I imagine with Marshall not taking fresh tyres, and G. Coman potentially having done so, that time is just going to slowly creep together. But then we've got a bit of battle here in 6, 7, 8 for the Pro-Am top standings. Pro-Am showing a few of the silver and the pro drivers, how it's done. So it'll be interesting to see how that battle turns out between John, George and Bishop. A little bit further down in the pack, so that's definitely one to keep an eye on. But yeah, we'll see as just about everybody except for Blake and Foster not yet completing a stop. So very interesting alternate strategies, going more than half the distance of a race with 2 pit stops remaining.
This is where I really hope Paul Cranach is in chat, just kind of watching. He loves an alternative strategy. So he should copyright that, I reckon. I reckon he should.
Definitely should. I think he's written the book on it, and these guys have been reading it. They've got a signed copy sitting just above their rigs, ready to go.
Absolutely. So I think Jack Coleman has lost 2 seconds somehow. Must have had a slight off. But if...
I think he's reeled that in, actually. He was 6 and a bit seconds.
Oh, was he 6 and a bit? Okay,
yeah.
Right. I don't know what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's really... And all Marshall has to do is just kind of hold him off. If he can hold him off to get to having fresh tyres. But then I suppose it depends if Jack Coleman decides, well, I'm not going to take fresh tyres this time. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes that way. I mean, you kind of couldn't... I wouldn't not take tyres for 2 stops. It'd be a bit silly.
I don't think you can go the full hour without taking tyres and expect yourself to keep the pace up. But we'll see. He is slightly gaining there with Jack Coleman down to 4.9. He'd be watching that number religiously, ensuring if he's got that 5-second gap, there's a chance for him to just take the fresh rubber, still stay out in front.
Okay, so where do you start? Marshall and Jack Coleman with the different tyre strategies and matching pace going off the last lap. So it'll be interesting to see the pace difference as you go around, whether Marshall can just kind of mitigate that difference in tyre.
Yeah, and now you got to navigate the blue flags. This is where they really start to come into effect. So we know it's very hard to pass here. It's also pretty hard for a blue flag to let you through safely. It's just so narrow. So yeah, it would be interesting to see if this holds. Oh well, that's one way to do it. Who was that? Someone's just got right out of the way and decided, you know what, I'm just going to go mow some lawns. That's the priority. So Marshall will be loving that. Got a bit of free air in front of him. He's got, I believe that's Barker in front of him, who's also completed both stops, and there's a lot of clean air in front of him there. So the other guys behind him, Jack Coleman, Weatherburn, still got a few blue flags to navigate, but Marshall with a clear track in front of him is looking pretty cruisy right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think he will catch... Oh, he might catch Barker maybe this stint, but I don't reckon he will. So who else do we have? So we have... It'll be interesting. The Tafik and Hill, 4 seconds apart roughly. Where are they on the track map? So they are... Oh, they're in like nice little gaps down there where no one's really bothering them. They're just kind of relaxing, just putting in laps.
Yeah, that's the thing. Tafik again just got fresh air. Just cruise around as much as he can. So and we know that he jumped Rad after the first pit stop. So if you're Weatherburn, I mean, you're only 2.5 seconds behind Jack Coleman, so you clearly got the pace. But if Tafik's putting in, who just pitted in the last lap, so we don't quite know what his race pace is just yet until he completes this lap. Tafik could be on for the top 4, if not potentially threaten the podium, depending on whether he has taken tyres or not.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think he came out 5th. No, he came out 4th, I think, from that first stop. So he is in the battle for 4th, but whether he can kind of get a bit closer to Weatherburn for that kind of last podium spot.
Oh, that's it. And that's what he'd be just looking at his delta, just trying to keep it as green as possible. Just put in his fresh air laps, and he hasn't really seen much action all race besides the first 2 laps.
I mean, those kind of races, though, are like good races where you're not on... I mean, he is on stream a little bit tonight, but you're not on stream a lot. You have no one around you. I get the boring and dull, but like they're the races where like kind of you've done all right, that you've just kind of had no worries, no concerns. He just lapped and came home with a good result.
Yeah, that's sometimes the way you want it in these as we see it's a little bit of indecision there from the McLaren in front of Jay Coman, but Jay Coman's brought that down to 3.4 seconds now, so he's absolutely reeling Marshall in, and depending on...
P1 has spun.
Oh.
So that'll be your thing. Jay Coman's in first, Weatherburn's in second, Marshall has gone to third. So let's get some eyes on that, what happened there. But
yeah, absolutely. What's going on there?
Is that a bit of hairpin sadness, or a bit of... Is it Britons? Britons? I'm going to call it Smittens. Or Mittens.
Mittens. It wasn't Island Bend? Or...
Got to be Slops into Knickerbocker. It just gets me every time.
That's real unfortunate for Marshall there. He was in command of this race, and that promotes... it's Jay Coman's going to pit, and so does Marshall. Ooh, very close there. Very close as we get a replay. So let's see what's happened here. So he's going to go around Island Bend. He's hooked it in. He's hit the curb and got a bounce on the inside, and he's heading towards that tyre barrier like there's no tomorrow. And he's
Good hold.
Good hold. He's managed to keep it out. There's nothing worse than slamming that tyre barrier at 100 mile an hour. His tyres will be shot. He won't be happy about that, and Weatherburn's just coming in front. So Jay Cameron's pitted. He's now on his way out. Marshall, I think, is absolutely going to take fresh tyres here. I think Jay Coman looked like he might not have. So,
I mean, the gap between Jay Coman and Marshall now is going to be pretty extensive. So he can kind of gamble on not taking the tyres for the track position, but then because Marshall didn't take the tyres, was it just the tyre not gripping up through the corner before hitting the bump?
Potentially. He could have just taken it just that fraction early, but the inside of that curb there is an absolute no-no. It just about sends any car off. So Weatherburn's going to keep lapping at the moment, see if he's can utilise some of this fresh air. And it'll be interesting to see whether he does take tyres or not. It didn't look like Jay Coman put tyres, and I imagine, considering he only pitted, 10 minutes ago or so, that he wouldn't need to. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So, yeah, you can see there, Marshall 11 seconds now behind Jay Coman. It's a huge time loss.
Yeah, Jay Coman doesn't have to push it, doesn't have to risk it, doesn't have to do anything, just steady, pump some laps in and just bring it home mistake-free.
Absolutely. We'll see that Tafiq, the next of the completed pit stoppers, he's probably, 6 seconds, 7 seconds? Yeah, he's about 6 seconds behind Marshall. Still got Blake in front of him, and we know Blake can she can be a bit of a road stop for some of these front runners. So it all comes down now. I'm going to say Weatherburn's going to slot in there into that 10 second, 11 second slot between Jay Coman and Marshall. So all Weatherburn's got to do to get himself the second step on the podium is just keep it clean, cruise around, use the fresh air, and go from there.
Well, it depends. Does Weatherburn's...
Marshall's off again.
No.
That gap's grown. Has Marshall
Maybe
had a bit of angle to slide off there? Whatever's happened, he was enjoying that car for the first half of the race and not enjoying it for the second. So I don't know what's changed there, but that's really unfortunate for what was such a solid effort.
I think what happens in ACC, just in sim racing in general, when it rains, it pours. One thing happens, and everything happens all at once. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully he can rectify to kind of pull it together for the last 15 minutes and see if he can come home with a decent result for the day. If you're Weatherburn, do you chuck tyres on or do you not? As we jump on board for the replay of Marshall going off. He's going to go hit the bump again. See, I feel like just looking at the behaviour of the car too, like how he's trying to turn it in, looks like he's trying to overdrive now to catch up, like it's trying to drive too hard and too fast. He's not letting it come to him.
Yeah, absolutely. It's someone who's trying to make up the time for some of the mistakes made. Unfortunately, it is just breeding more mistakes. It's a bit unfortunate there. It's like you said, when it rains, it pours 100%. So, I mean, if you're Weatherburn, looking at how things are turning out now, absolutely. You can take tyres and see. You don't have anything to lose in terms of P2, so potentially go for P1. I don't think you're going to get the pass done, but
what's the gap?
Too big there.
What's the gap between Weatherburn and Jack Coman? Like, in terms of if he does a stop?
Actually, they were within 5 seconds, weren't they? But I don't think Giacomo's
like 3-4.
I don't think Giacomo's taken tyres. You only went for like a 10 or 12 minute stint through the middle there. And judging by the length of his pit stop relative to the others, I think he just continued out there. So for Weatherburn, I don't think he's gonna take tyres. But I don't think it's gonna make much difference. I don't think he's gonna be able to jump Giacomo, and he'll just sit dead set, smack bang in the middle between him and Marshall.
Yeah, maybe consolidate P2 for this round.
Which is still a solid effort, considering some of the names that are in this grid.
Look, Cricky, sounding off in chat, I hope someone has told Yoda he needs to do 2 stops. It'd be incredibly sad if he hasn't been told that. But you'd think he'd notice the orange number next to his name.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got just over... Oh, there he is. He's in the pits now. So we'll see where he comes out. I think, regardless of whether he takes tyres or not, he's going to end up in between Giacomo and Marshall. He's just got to nail the pit stop, not get any stop-go 30 shenanigans, and keep it clean, and off he goes.
Don't do a fluky. Don't do a fluky. Come on, you've had enough tonight. You've had enough.
We've both had enough, mate. I don't think there's anything left that I can say that can save anybody at this point.
Just put a sock in it, Fluky. You've had enough. You had your time. You ate your fill. You can't have any more cake, son.
Mate, I am hungry for curses. So, well, as we see, Yoda doesn't have the stop go 30, so I haven't cursed him. So,
Good.
You're welcome. Basically, if you don't get cursed by me, you're welcome. And
I genuinely think there's every chance that he... How far is he behind?
Giacomo's gone through the shell hairpin now, so...
If he... I don't reckon he's taken tyres. I reckon he's just left it.
Yeah, but he's about 3 seconds, right? And he was about 3 seconds before Giacomo stopped, so... They're on the same strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you sacrifice the extra couple of seconds to take fresh tyres to see if you can kind of catch up to Giacomo? I don't know.
At this stage of the race, probably not. If you pit, maybe... If your strategy involved you pitting probably 5 minutes ago, maybe. 5-10 minutes ago, maybe. But with only 12 minutes to go in this race... Probably not worth it at this stage. You see Marshall's, nearly 9 seconds behind Weatherburn. So, I mean, he could have, and he would have been fine. Take the gamble.
Yeah, absolutely could have. I mean, it's better to play it safe, though. Like, at the end of the day, it's better to play it safe. As Chris Taylor said, crazy 2 at this point. You're right, Chris. You're absolutely right. Yeah, just very, very crazy, mate.
He also said one dirty sock on it for Lukey, so I don't know what that means.
Oh yeah, it wouldn't be a wash sock. It'd be a dirty sock.
If we can get
it'd be
an
a
explanation on
post-race
that one.
sock, as that is a lawn mowing McLaren coming back onto the track. Yeah, it'd be one post-race sock.
That
And it'd be like the brake foot, so the left foot for everyone that brakes properly.
considering what my brake sock looks like after one of those races, yeah, no, thank you.
Because it'd be like it's got to be the heavier worked foot, so it's got to be the left sock.
With just all that soaked in sweat, for sure.
Just, I'm not going to say it. Just everyone can look down in P18, and I hyped the man up with the name, and he's gone from I'm gonna have to send him a pizza or something. I'm gonna have to send him a get well gift or something.
a get well card. Apologising profusely because that is all you, mate. That was all you.
It was. He might need to take his time travel device and go away to a happier time. No, it's good though. It's good. The thing I like about it, is that even though he's had a bad night, he's still persevered through to the end. And I think it's a good thing for everyone to learn and see and do as well. Is when things go wrong and pear-shaped and whatever, that you don't just give in and toss it and go, do the nana and go.
Do the alt F4.
Yeah, you kind of persevere, and there's not much in it apart from your own personal satisfaction that you start something out and you finished it,
Well, yeah, that's it. It shows a bit of character, and there's always something to learn from going all the way from start to finish, and you just never know. It's not over until the flag comes out. You never know what can happen on some last lap shenanigans, as we're on board with the Too Fig Too Furious, who is being held up, I'm going to say profusely, by Miss Blake Griffiths, who is absolutely holding their own here, defending like a lion against the Tafiq, who is probably going to start seeing a little bit of red a little bit soon, as he would want to be clearing Griffith, who I don't know if anyone's told her that there's a two-stop for this race. I'm going to have to get that one sorted out relatively shortly, but yeah, that's going to invite Hill into this battle soon, as we see finally Blake jumping into the pits, leaving the space clear. So yeah, look at that last lap, 1:35.2, so that's nearly... Well, it's bang on 2 seconds slower than his fastest lap. So I think Tafiq could be a little bit frustrated at that one, inviting Hill back into the battle for P5.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of got to let the red mist display. It can happen. You don't know what's going on in the other person's cockpit of their race at the end of the day. But yeah, I guess... people in that situation obviously would be pretty annoyed, seeing the red mist. I definitely wouldn't be. I'm a very happy-go-Larry person.
You are calm, collected.
I am. I'm a calm and collected individual.
Driver. I have never heard a bad word come out of you at all.
No, absolutely not.
While you race. Not at all.
Absolutely not. I hope someone has told J-Rad that there is a pit stop left to do. But he did this last time. He ran super long, so he might just have the splash and dash at the end to get it done, or the drive-through. Might have filled all the way to the end and then just drive through. Oh, no, but yeah. Well, no, he's got a pit, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's a split. There's a set timer on the fuel. He has to serve his 25 seconds for his fuel. So regardless of whether he's a liter in it, or whether it's 100 litres in it, he's got to sit there for 25 seconds. So
I really hope Rad pits in 6 minutes and 30. Please.
few of the boys sitting on the mountain commenting in chat. I'm sure there's a few lagers shared between them.
See, they're saying I'm a perfect gentleman. I have nothing bad to say when behind the wheel. Nothing. Yes, they could have had quite a few apple juices. So up there on the mountain. Hope everyone's doing well up there. Hope everyone's doing well in their own homes. We're rounding up to the final 5 minutes of the race, Oulton Park. It's been a pretty kind of well, I wouldn't say a stale race, but it's been not a lot has happened in terms of racing on track. But it's one of those kind of tracks, isn't it, where it's hard to get side by side door banging.
Yeah, absolutely. We go from Silverstone last week, which is a super wide, nice flowing track that just invites so much racing, which you love to see, and immediately flip it on its head to the polar end of the spectrum, and we've got the hot lap simulator. Rad's in with 5 minutes to go.
He listened. It'll
be interesting to see where he turns out, because I know him and Tafiq were potentially in the mix.
I reckon Tafiq's got him.
Tafiq's going to have him, but Jones. Yeah. Oh, there we go. He's cleared. So I was well off on that one. Thank you. He was fighting with Bishop actually more than anything, I think.
So it doesn't matter about Jones because Jones has still got to stop. So it'd be interesting to see where Bishop.
Someone tell Jones he needs to pit.
Comes out. Also. In terms of he's coming in now. So this is going to be tight between Rad and Bishop. Oh, okay, it's not that. It's okay. I kind of overestimated that one there, didn't I? But they're going to be, for 4 minutes, they're going to be seeing each other and they're going to be saying good day, and hopefully a few love taps and everything going on to make sure that they get through to the end. So Jack Coleman in P1, Weatherburn in P2, Marshall in P3, and Tafiq in P4, with Hill in P5 rounds out your top 5 so far.
Yeah, looking pretty much settled now. So we've got 4 minutes left of this race. I don't think, unless someone has an absolute disaster class, looks like this race is pretty much settled out in all battles. So we'll just be cruising on until the end, hoping not to curse anybody else. Because
you've done it.
You and I have done our fair share at cursing tonight. Let's be real.
Nah, it was the car's fault.
There hasn't been too many broadcaster blessings tonight. I think it's just been straight up commentator curse.
Maybe we should have some divine intervention. Rad, you're doing really well. Keep going to the end. I'm sorry. Whatever that brings.
Why would you point Rad out specifically for that?
Well, I couldn't make Glenn change the camera from like Rad to someone else. Like, you know, he was just in the firing line.
He was just there. Connor will just take his pickings on whoever's on screen.
We jump back on board with Jack Home, and he's extended the gap a little bit to Weatherburn, and then Marshall's a further 5 seconds back from that. Marshall would have to kind of be a bit annoyed, be kicking himself after the few offs, but that's what happens. 2 offs, and that separated Marshall by about 12 seconds from the lead. So, you know, it happens. Tafiq,
it does happen.
Not the best qualifying, but definitely has made his way through the field, and good strategy call to get himself in the clean air.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're in Marshall's shoes, I actually think you're pretty lucky, considering that you have taken the off, that you still managed to sweep up the podium position, because considering that you had Tafiq and Hill chasing those positions down, I think he's still done pretty well for himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we have in chat, that Cricky is inspired by you, Connor. I mean, we all are. We're all inspired by you.
Fancy hearing that everyone's inspired by a Tasmanian. You know, it just brings tears to my eye. You know, viewers.
You're ever going to hear it?
But which eye does it bring a tear to? Because I have 4, so, you know.
Whichever one you choose, Connor. Whichever one you choose.
I'll go the middle right.
We.
As we jump on board, that is a stray Ferrari in the background. You cannot drive off there, sir. Jack Homan is pretty much just gonna drive through to the finish. One more lap after this. You can't really, I guess you kind of can't really fault what Jack Homan's done today. He hasn't put a foot wrong. He's just kind of drove his race and kind of, if he can get round this next lap, you know, he's had a good day.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just been cruising along. As I said, he put the car in cruise control and let Marshall kind of do his own thing and cause his own issues, and he'll sort of run in with potentially anybody else or his own undoing. He's going to take the win here.
As someone told Foster, there is a pit. Please, Foster, pit. Please. Please.
You can't do it on the last lap, buddy. You can't. It's too late. You can't do it. The race is over. If he'll get the
No, can he?
What penalty does he get for it?
No, he can pit.
No, he can't.
Oh no, because Jack Homan's gonna. No.
He's gonna cross the line. Which he can't do because Jack Homan will come across the line. So, what's the penalty for not taking a pit? Classic. We're hearing in the ear that it's going to be 90 seconds. He's going to try and do it, but I don't think it's going to work, mate. I think you've done it. As we see, Jack Homan's going to come through the last corner now.
Okay, Jack Homan, sacrifice your race so Foster can complete his pit stop. Quick, everyone, just stop. Stop at Lodge.
Just stop. In order. Stop in order. No passing.
As we have Jack Homan cross the line, 4P1, good race, good result. Weatherburn's going to come home in P2. Marshall's going to cross the line, 4P3. The standouts of this race, their pace was pretty immeasurable compared to the rest of the field. Tafiq is going to come across the line in P4. Great drive back from the qualifying. Hill definitely held in there solid, and he's definitely got room for more positions in the coming weeks, coming home in P5. We're going to have a rad round out the top 6 and the win for the Pro-Am class. So take a bow, son, from Bishop in P7, who is very close behind. So definitely keep an eye out for that battle coming forward in the season. Mokhtar in P8 is going to round out, is going to come across the line. P9, David Barker. And
Foster's out.
Yeah, I told you. I told you. I still reckon everyone should have piled up at Lodge. Would have been great. Would have been one of the best moments ever.
And that is your race at Oulton Park for Split Green as we wait for Foster to... I mean, now's the opportunity to crack a couple of Fosters if you're out there on top of the mountain. No doubt. It's Pierce, but go for it.
Are you really cracking a Foster's? Are you really?
Definitely not. Definitely not cracking a Foster's. I don't think any Australian actually cracks Fosters at all.
I remember a long time ago having a Foster's in cornflakes on a grand final morning, so that was something.
All right.
It was warm Fosters too, so it wasn't exactly. Yeah, it was.
What you guys do in Tasmania is your own
pretty
business.
grim. It was pretty grim. Yeah, good on it. He got the pit stop done.
Let's get some claps in chat.
Get some claps for him in chat. Good job. So, what a race. Split green for the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series. Round 2, Oulton Park is done. And we'll run through the classes. So P1 is Luca Jack Homan, P2 is Jacob Weatherburn, P3 is Lucas Marshall. We have the silver class, which is Oliver, I don't know his first name, and Ryan Shogun. And then Pro-Am is Rad in P1, Bishop in P2s. George the Greek, I seen that in chat earlier, so thank you, Witchell, that's what he likes to be called. And then we jump to the Am class, and it's Macaulay, Griffiths, and Harrison for your podium. Driver of the day, Fluky?
I think it's going to be Weatherburn getting the Mustang up there into second place. I think he drove a great race, and he was only 2.5 seconds off Giacomin, who we know is a powerhouse hot lapper. So I think Weatherburn was a bit of a dark horse, and put in the time, put in the laps, and got the result.
Yeah, absolutely. I will put my driver of the day. I'm going to go pretty safe and say Giacomin. I picked him for the win from the start, but he just drove pretty faultlessly. So you kind of can't disrespect that.
Nah, not at all.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess everyone, if you haven't, add an entry into the Bathurst 12 Hour, the event for Mullock. It's coming up in a couple of weeks, so there's still spots, there's still room, jump on it. Thanks to everyone who makes this possible. Thanks to the stewards, Glenn for streaming, Mullock for making the thing possible. Thanks to you, Fluky, for commentating with me.
As always,
thanks everyone for chilling in chat. So,
yep. So looking forward to Split Blue, Split Red tomorrow night. Other than that, it's been a pleasure commentating with you, Connor, and everyone out there in chat. Glenn, appreciate you working behind the scenes there, mate. And see you guys tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.